Now we have even more metal work to do.
Oh, whoa, stop. Got a doghouse for the dog, a big dog.
This 2001 Ford F-350. 6 months ago, this was just a beat-up old work truck. You know, and even after all that, there's still just something missing.
Oh my God, Bill, that is sick right there, man.
You know, when big parts start coming together, it makes for a good day.
This is going to be one of my favorites that we've ever done.
Awesome. Yeah, good.
I'm Bill Carlton. I built my first truck when I was 16. And ever since, me and my guys have been out here creating with our hands. Building the biggest, lowest, baddest custom trucks and cars in the game. People don't come here for what they need. They come here for what they want. This is Texas Metal. Man, Bill, so glad you came with me to pick up this engine.
Well, you know, I'm not going to miss the time to come out and see old John and his cool car collection.
And everybody's been talking about. We're months deep in customizing John's F5 Ford COE with tons of custom metalwork. He wants us to swing by his place because he wants to add a new engine. Once again, a super big build is getting even bigger.
And, you know, got to check up on the old milk truck, see how it's doing.
Absolutely.
Hey, Bill. Spot, how y'all doing?
Good, how you doing?
I'm doing wonderful.
You working?
Yeah, just rubbing on this rascal a little bit. You doing all right?
Heck yeah.
How you doing?
Good, man. How are you?
Doing fine.
Man, this thing's still looking good.
Putting some miles on it, having a good time.
Running good?
It's still running great. I tell you, I enjoy the heck out of it.
We built a milk truck from ground up for Big John last year. Tons of custom metalwork, full interior, and a big old diesel engine.
You know, seeing the milk truck again, that just reaffirms that we really got to keep the bar high on this one.
Yeah, keep pushing the bar to build an even better vehicle than we built before.
Absolutely.
It's absolutely still my favorite build that's ever come out of the shop. But amongst all these other cars, what a collection.
You hadn't seen them all. There's still other garages.
No kidding. You know, I've known John for a long time. Since I was a kid, we're a lot alike. Always looking to make his builds bigger and better. Always. We planned on keeping the existing engine on the COE, but in this game, the only thing you can count on is things are definitely going to change.
Well, you know how I like diesels. I like this Ford diesel in this one.
Yeah.
Let's do something different. Let's put a Cummins in the next one.
Man, I like that. I love, you know, that's part of it. Just that diesel sound, the smell, man, that'll make it.
I think so. Putting the diesel in the COE, it's the only way to go. They're bigger trucks. They need a diesel. This is what I want you putting as COE, is a Cummins 4BT 12 valve, 3.9 liter with a 4-speed automatic tranny on it.
John, I think it's a great idea. You know, having the diesel in the COE is definitely the right way to go. Even being a 4-cylinder, this thing can still make some good power.
It'll make that COE run good.
The Cummins 4BT is a turbocharged 3.9 liter. It's a small version of the super popular 12 valve. You know, it still packs a ton of power, but size-wise, it's a way better fit for the COE. This is probably going to be your new favorite.
Nah, this is my favorite.
I don't know.
Well, then
It's going to be a tough decision.
I'll have two favorites.
You ready to load this up?
Let's load this rascal up.
Let me get the truck.
Yeah, go back it in. I'll get the forklift.
Work on the COE. And it's even going to take more work to make this diesel engine fit.
Clear over there?
This way? Cool. The truth is, if it were my truck, I definitely want the same thing. Come, Timmy. What you got on that truck out there? Little engine, little diesel engine. Old John, milk truck John. Yeah. He loves how that diesel is in his milk truck. He said he just had to have a diesel in the COE.
So all the work with the old 350 in it, taking all that out, all the sheet metal, everything.
Whatever we're going to do to make it fit. You know, we've already made a custom Western Holler style bed, running boards, and a whole headache rack. It's all at powder coat. Now we have even more metal work to do.
What do you want to get started on first?
You know, first things first, we're going to pull out that small block, get rid of that sucker, and let's start
doing what we got to do to get that diesel in.
You know, the Cummins 4VT has some components on the side that makes this thing a little wider than the 350. So you already know that creates a lot of work in making a whole new doghouse. And we're going to be adding new front bag mounts to the front suspension to haul that extra weight. Then we can add the wood into the bed and the running boards.
This thing orange or what?
Big John's definitely got to have it orange.
And the orange, the big billet wheels, and now the diesel motor kind of completes the whole project of the truck.
Definitely. The milk truck's going to have a little competition beside it when it gets back home. Let's do it.
Let's go.
Alrighty, buddy. Pull that hood off.
Alright.
To make room for the new Cummins engine, Ryan and John are going to start by taking out the old small block 350.
That's one way to do it. So is. It looks like there's no way to get that out. This cross mover right here is going to really hang us up on getting the bottom of this thing out.
I've seen that coming.
Sucks.
I had a feeling this was going to happen, but it was worth a shot. You know, we were hoping we'll just remove the front end and we're about to get the engine out the front of the truck. But clearly that's not going to happen because we got a front cross member here and we don't want to cut that out. So, more work.
To pull the engine out, we got to make room. So we're going to take the radiator off and then the motor mounts. You ready? Yeah. You hung up on something.
This wire right here, hold on. I got it. Hold on. Temperature sensor wire. All right.
Nice. That'll make life a little easier, huh? A little bit. Hey, stop.
I need the chain to be as short as possible, though.
I understand that. You're hitting the distributor cap. You're about to knock it off. When you're building custom cars and trucks, it seems like they never end. We're always constantly changing and evolving and coming up with bigger, badder stuff. And this is no different.
Right there?
Come down here. All right. Pull the motor your way here.
See what we got.
All right. Go ahead.
Basically a brand new engine, huh?
Yeah. He could probably throw it in one of his other projects and we can put something way cooler in this one, huh?
Yeah, diesel power.
Yeah, buddy.
Well, you know, John always gets what he wants, so
Hey.
I wish I was that John.
And the running boards. So I asked Lewis to help me pick the right wood to accent that orange paint.
What's up, man?
How you doing, man?
This is the color we got. Lamborghini orange for that COE. You know, the wood's going to be pretty prominent on the bed of this thing and down in the running board. So it's really going to stand out. But I want something, you know, with a nice grain to it. What is this?
So that one's alder right there. That's a really white wood, so we could add a stain to that. This one's oak. We have walnut here. This is cherry. We have mahogany, and this one's lacewood.
Man, I like that.
We can add a little bit of solvent to it. You know, you can kind of see the natural appearance and the figure of that grain, and our mahogany, and then our walnut.
Man, I think these two,
Yeah, man.
you know, I love the grain in this thing. I think majority lacewood with little separation of mahogany.
Yeah, man.
That would be nice.
Yeah, wood. Yeah, this lacewood, when it's in the sun, it's just going to pop at you. All of the grain running like that, that sun's going to hit it. It's going to be beautiful.
Cool.
All right, man.
Let's do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so we got the engine compartment cleared out. Now it's time to fit the Cummins. Typical. As everything else around here being a little bit wider and obviously a lot bigger than that little 350 that was in here. So what I'm gonna do is keep as much of the firewall as I can because height isn't an issue, it's just width. So I'll just cut all the way back and hopefully I'll be able to save this chunk and just move it over an inch. Also gonna trim the frame rails to make a little bit of room and then plate it, boxing it in. That way when I do get this motor in here, I can go ahead and build my motor mounts as well without having to pull it back out again. Everything's done, frames boxed in, motor mount plates are made and ready for the motor to come in. We'll go grab John and stab this thing in here. Try to tilt back. Oh, whoa, stop.
Ah, that sucks. See it hitting the top and it's already at the bottom.
You know, when you own a custom shop as long as I have, you get a lot of experience fitting things in vehicles where they're not supposed to be, like the Cummins and the 1950 Ford COE.
On this side, the injector pump is hitting the body.
For our second attempt on the COE, we raised the body off the frame about a foot to get that engine in there.
It's about right. Like down, we can start getting this motor mounted to the frame. Whenever you need help, holla at me.
Oh, we will. Come on.
Now that we got the new engine in, you could clearly see it's a lot taller than what was in there. This was the original doghouse that was in there for the 350. So what we're gonna have to do is start from scratch, build a whole new doghouse, make it taller and wider as well. So I got a rough measurement from inside the truck, 36 by 24. Lay it in there, draw me a couple lines, start shaping it. Just toss it in the truck. What we're gonna do here to get us some reference lines where I gotta bend this. This mark is the edge of the exhaust. These two marks are the valve cover, and this one is the edge of the fuel filter. Now we'll take this over to the machine and get it breaking. Got a doghouse for the dog, big dog. Looks like this is gonna fit pretty good. Make a little adjustment cuts here and there. Make this as close as possible to the engine to give us as much cabin room as possible. But the engine does produce heat, so we can't get too close because then this will get hot. As you can see, this is a lot smaller than what we're working with, so we're just gonna go ahead and cut that off and just make it all new. Piece tacked on there, giving it a little structural integrity while I make a bunch of these little pieces that are going to form the panel from the top and connect it to the backside. There's going to be a lot of trimming, fitting, and adding till we get this thing all finished.
Ground up builds, especially with an owner like Big John, he really challenges us to build something truly that's one of one. You know, that's my passion, but it's also my business. So I'm always riding that line, what's best for the shop and what's best for the build. You know, the truth be told, my passion almost always wins. Exhibit 1011, this 2001 Ford F-350. You know, we've done a lot of work to this point of getting this old green work truck to the point it's at. You know, you can't really tell now, but about 6 months, we raised the truck 4 inches, added 24-inch wheels, we added full paint, fabricated the bed to flow with our custom fenders and custom short tailgate. You know, and even after all that, there's still just something missing.
Man, I know that look. What are you thinking?
It is not done. It needs a little more.
Like what?
It just needs something to throw it over the top. I think graphics on this thing would really just wake it up.
So you think it's something subtle, something small, or something just crazy?
See, you know I'm right. You know I'm right.
You're always right. That's why you're a successful businessman in America.
It's just too green. It needs some graphics down the side. You know, we got to call Caesar and Amanda, get them to come over and get it laid down on here. Then this thing will be finished.
I'll hit him up, see if he's in town, so you can stop by.
You know, we're lucky here with Houston's custom car scene. We have an abundance of specialists and artists who can really just take something just totally over the top. Like this husband and wife team, Caesar and Amanda.
So the main purpose of prepping it is that way we can open up the pores of the paint so we can actually have the adhesion on top of the base color.
Having having my wife work with me is a lot easier because the same goal in mind always helps.
Plus, good work is hard to find, so that's why I learned so I can work with him every day.
I'm gonna start with my fine line. I basically had to draw something to get proportion right, and then from there I'll start tweaking it and getting the balance just right. It looks good on paper, but putting it on something that's three-dimensional is really hard because if one line has a real clean arc and there's a kink in it, that disrupts the whole flow of the design process. And it's kind of like a puzzle. You know, I'm trying to piece everything together, and I'm working little by little, and then from there, I'll step back and look at the bigger picture.
Now that these graphics are done on the side of the truck, we're gonna pounce it to the other side. You're gonna have to tape over there and come this way.
All right.
We're gonna go ahead and start tracing them and making our marks with a crayon. We're gonna make sure that we get the graphics and then also like the door jambs, the body lines, stuff like that, so that way we can make sure that we have accurate placement whenever we flip it to the other side and transfer the image. More of like an olive avocado green. So we are going to be trying to mix something that's kind of close to that. I can kind of manipulate the tones to get it where we want it.
I like where the green's at, but it needs a little bit more of a bump. So we got some interstellar pearls. We're gonna add to it.
Caesar, we're good.
That's what I want. And the sun is gonna make the pearl pop out and give it that dancing shimmer effect. All right, so what we're gonna do is, we got it all masked up, so I'm gonna start laying my base coat down. With pearls, there is a technique to spraying. You wanna get nice, even coats, no blotchiness. So you wanna be a little higher with your pressure and a little more sporadic. That way you can get your pigments to lay on real well. I just finished doing my second coat. What I'm gonna do is wait for this to flash. I'll come back after it's cured and spray some more coats.
What I like about Caesar and Amanda's work, they use multiple techniques with multiple layers all throughout the graphics. The details they're going to add to this F350 are just going to look like they're popping out all that green.
I'm just trying, that way the balance is there, kind of coming from both angles. It kind of makes it look like the colors are cutting into each other. I'll start with the base. I'll come along the edges, get a nice smooth blend. And basically each step builds on top of it. I'll clean the gun, I'll load it up with the candy. You'll slowly start seeing the transitions of the pearls and the candies kind of mixed together. And with custom painting, you never know what's going to happen. You never know how your layout's going to turn out, and you kind of base off a feeling, and you just want to have the right look. It takes a lot of practice and a lot of sacrifice. Sometimes you got to break a few eggs before you get it right.
Is that left arm gonna hit that body mount over there?
I'm good.
We're separating the frame on the 1950 Ford F5.
Turn it wheel.
We're going to tidy up the suspension with new upper and lower control arms, bag mounts, and all new bags all the way around. You know, right now is one of the most critical stages when you're setting up air suspension. We got the chassis simulated with the truck all the way deflated, like all the way on the ground. So we're going to simulate the bag fully compressed with our 3-inch spacer. So that's where it needs to go. Okay, real quick, Ryan, measure.
5 and 1/16. 5 and a 16.
We're ready to blow this thing apart.
So, you know, these last couple hours and this little moment right here is always exhausting and exciting all at the same time. Once we get this thing done and powder coated and you start seeing it all come together, man, just this in itself is going to be a showstopper, you know, and then adding the cab and the bed and wheels and all that, man, this is going to be one of my favorites that we've ever done, for sure.
To paint this entire truck orange. You know, I was looking for something bright, bold, but still classy.
In the booth we go. Coming out Tangelo. Oh, come on. Our customer John is all about the bling and the wow factor, so we went with a 2015 Lamborghini Orange on this truck. This is a big truck. It's going to be a lot of orange. I think you're going to like it. Because there is so much pearl in it, it doesn't cover as well as some other paints, so you got to make sure when you're spraying, you got a nice even spray pattern. You sunlight. On this color, it's going to take 4, maybe 5 coats to get complete coverage, and that's what we're going for.
You know, I like to powder coat our suspensions and frames. You know, it not only lasts longer, more durable, but it makes it look a whole lot better. You know, with the chassis back from powder coat, I asked Little One to assemble the rolling chassis. Then we'll install the engine and marry it to the flatbed in the cab. Yeah, that's right, his name's Little One. Don't ask me why, but he's a good mechanic and fabricator.
We get the motor in here, get the wiring done, and we go ahead and get all the brake lines. That way we don't have to struggle when the cab is on there and everything's fit perfectly.
And it's the first time I see the powder coat compared to the cab. It goes really good. Come on, Jesse. Go forward. Line display right here. All right, go down. Slowly. All right, let's get the other side. Go up.
Down?
Yeah. Oh,
Right there, we got it right there.
All right, Jesse. Your forklift services are no longer needed.
Thanks, buddy. It's always cool to take the extra effort just to do the rolling chassis. You know, John wanted to keep basically the stock chassis, but he wanted to modify it to fit the truck. Powder coated, broken apart, and you look up underneath there, and everything's finished 100%.
Right now?
Been a long time coming. We're getting the cab down on the chassis. Finally. You know, we started working on this. It was kind of cold outside. Got hot, real hot. We worked all the way through summer. Starting to get cold again. You know, you can tell this is a long project. Measure the distance in between there. Center hole, center hole.
Yeah, 23 3/4.
I'm an instant gratification guy, so I'm feeling pretty gratified right now. You know, when big parts start coming together, it makes for a good day. Looking good?
Yeah, a little bit.
That's about right where it's gonna be. Hell yeah. Man, that's what I like to see. You know, it feels good to look around the shop and see all these big, and bigger builds getting worked on. But honestly, nothing feels better when you give one of these back to the owner. And after several months of work, this lifted F-350 is right on the edge.
Makes these graphics seem like they're wider when you're looking at them, but not something that's going to overkill them. It's easy to mess up, and it's even harder to fix once you do. Sometimes when I'm striping, I'll hold my breath, and as I'm pulling my line, I'll exhale. Even my own heartbeat will shake my hand sometimes. It's just you and the brush, and you just focus on the moment that you're striping, because it takes a lot of control and discipline to get your brush to work. You have to control it. I'm nowhere as good as I want to be, and every time I pick up the brush, in the first 10 or 15 minutes, I'm going to know if I'm going to stripe that day. Because some days I have it, some days I don't.
You know, let me find some wood to knock on, because this truck is done. When the owners Andrew and Katie dropped this truck off a few months ago, you wouldn't believe it. It was just a busted up old work truck. But after all we've done, it's going to be worth the wait, and these graphics are just a cherry on the top. What's happening? Good morning.
We say, Bill. How you doing, man?
Hi.
Hi, good morning.
Today's the day.
Yeah, it is, right? You've been waiting a while.
Oh, yeah.
You guys came in that old tired ranch truck. You wanted something totally different, right?
We wanted that one-off no one had.
Right?
Family, its whole life. I wasn't having a new truck. They all looked the same.
What better way than just take the money we have saved and build something unique?
You know, we spent a lot of time on the aesthetics on this thing. You know, just when we thought we were done with this thing, it wasn't done. It needed something just a little more to put it way over the top.
Cool deal. Let's see it. I'm real nervous right now because, you know, I talked her into doing it, and now, you know, if it doesn't turn out right, she's going to kick my butt.
You guys ready to check this thing out?
I'm super excited.
Let's get Matt to bring this thing around. Looks good, huh?
Oh yeah, not even
Not
the
even
same truck.
close to what we expected, right?
Nope, not even close. This is nice, Bill.
I mean,
So you're liking it?
Oh yeah, we're loving it. Loving it.
look at that really cool bumper.
It makes you want to get out of its way,
Oh
right?
yeah, those
Yeah.
round
What do you-
lights. I'm glad you went with that instead of a light bar.
Yeah, man, there's been way overplayed, right?
No, that is perfect. That is nice.
You know, the 24-inch dually wheels on this thing that just really
They set
wakes
it
it up,
off. Color match too.
right?
That's nice.
You know, one of the most unique things on the truck is the bed itself. So what we did is just cut the original bed down and shaped it around the later model dually fenders, which gives it just a totally different look.
Perfect, and plus I still get the bed use. It's got the sides, it's got the little tailgate on there, so stuff's not flying out. I don't have to strap everything down.
Right?
Little baby
I
gate.
think it's pretty cute.
Little baby gate.
Mini gate.
The finishing touch on this was just the graphics, just to tie everything together, just put it next level.
It takes that truck from awesome to radical, 100%.
That's right.
I think those graphics stand out. It's like they're not even touching the paint. It's like they're just setting off the truck completely. The different layers on that, the colors in there, that's perfect. But it doesn't take it away from the actual truck itself. So
It adds to it,
yeah,
for sure.
it really does.
Absolutely. It just gives it that whole aggressive attitude and makes it just
Stand out. It's kind of cool, you know? It's like there's a little snakeskin looking thing, and then there's like a little leopard looking thing. I don't know. It's like an exotic animal of some sort.
It's like the green beast, man. It's unique.
there you go, man. I think you just named your truck.
Might have. See what she says about that.
Do we need some graphics on the back windows that say Green Beast?
After looking at everything that Bill's done and the guys did on this truck, we only have one problem.
What's that?
This time we'll be bringing more of our vehicles here.
Oh, gosh.
You went above and beyond what we wanted. This is perfect.
Appreciate that. I'm glad it's still in your family. I'm sure you're going to keep it for a long time.
We will.
Oh yeah, it'll go to the grave with us.
Watch the back of the cab. You know, it's always good to see one leave, but two is always better. And the 1950 Ford COE is getting real close to being finished. John's out there putting a lot of strips of wood together to fill that bed and the running boards.
So I've got all the raw lumber planed down to the proper thickness. So what we can do now is I'm going to take the jig that they built the bed off of, mark it out so I know what parts of it I'm going to be using. I'm going to go ahead and cut these boards down to length so I have smaller pieces to deal with, and it'll be a lot easier to manage when it's time to glue and clamp these up. Next thing we want to do is do a layout for our biscuit joinery. This is what's called a biscuit. We create a pocket in both halves of the wood, and when you bring it together, it keeps everything lined up. It makes a stronger joint, so these things will be solid. I'm going to take this tool. This is a plate joiner, and what this is going to do is it's actually going to cut it. The biscuit fits in like that, and it will line up with the next one. They go together like so. That way now it's perfectly even across here. A little bit of sanding and these things will be dead on, ready to go. Usually we're working with fiberglass, Bondo, India, things like that. It's really kind of a treat to have a chance to work with some real wood and, you know, play with a tree.
Everything we do here, it's about going the extra mile. So when Big John wanted a Cummins diesel in his COE, I gave a call to some Cummins specialists who come from a tiny little town, hour and a half north of here, called Nacogdoches.
What's up?
Hey, what's happening, man?
What's up, Bill? How you doing, brother?
Man, real good. Appreciate you guys coming down.
Absolutely. No problem, man.
Man, what'd you think about this, man?
This is awesome.
It's like beauty, man.
I've after very many 52 Ford run around with a 4BT in.
Right.
Dude, I can't wait to hear this thing run, man, and get a hold of that pump, turn it up, make it roll some coal.
Do what you do, Glenn. Let's get this thing running.
Let's get her done.
All right, man. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Stock, this engine's about 120 horsepower. We're going to have John's pushing about 3 through pump work, turbo.
It should give us about 600 foot-pounds of torque, which is plenty for moving this big old truck.
That's a bad little engine.
Yes, it is.
Big bang for your buck. All right, now that we got the front cover off, I think we're ready to go ahead and clean everything up, make sure there's no debris or anything inside of it that could potentially cause a malfunction or failure, and then put our new billet front cover on. So the advantage of this front cover versus the old style one is that they actually were prone to leaking a lot. They were a really thin piece of metal, and these engines heat up and cool down so much that they actually start to warp and breaks the seal on the gasket. So the advantage of this, it's a lot thicker, a lot stronger. It helps create a better seal over time, and we won't have oil going everywhere either.
These 4-cylinder Cummins, these 4BTs, they run great fuel mileage, and they can move a big vehicle for the size of them.
Yeah, there's a lot of companies use them that do a lot of deliveries.
Yeah,
and they're running 24/7, putting 400, 500,000 miles on these things, and they just keep
on running. Okay, so we're taking these single valve covers off. We're going to put one solid piece of billet aluminum one on here. They tend not to leak as much. Instead of the gasket that kind of overlaps these, we got O-rings on each one that's cut into the billet piece. Looks a lot better than what we have here.
So what we're putting on here is a harmonic balancer. Typically 4BTs didn't come with them because they were in industrial use. They didn't really care about vibration in the engine or anything like that. Seeing as this is going in a truck now, this helps dampening all the vibrations coming from the crank and just really smooths out the engine idle and gives you a nice ride.
Bill and his guys did an amazing job getting this to fit, and we can fire this thing up. You ready to start it?
Yeah, I got the launch crack ready to bleed it out.
Let's do it.
Hit it.
This thing sounded awesome, man. This thing's going to give John plenty of room in here. It's just going to fit the bill, man. It's just going to run great. I mean, it just sounds awesome, man.
Woo! Sounds great.
John's been putting in hours and hours of making the wood to put in the running boards and the flatbed. It takes a lot of experience to work with the hardwood.
As you can see, I got it all roughed out and cut to shape. So the next thing I'm gonna do is take my template. I'm just gonna clamp the template to this and take my hand router and a flush trim bit and work my way around it. Slowly ease my way around the corners. With this being a hardwood, I'm gonna have to be careful so it doesn't tear out and split out on the ends. So take a little bit more time than cutting MDF, but way worth it. Well, we got this one piece ready to go. So next step is get it over to the paint shop and we'll get a finish put on it. Man, it sure does look good. Awesome. Man, I can't wait to see them in the truck. It's gonna be
beautiful, man.
Beautiful.
So we're gonna get the wood ready to stain. The stain's gonna look great with this type of wood. It's gonna give it the clarity that we want, and it's gonna be beautiful. I want it to be fairly natural, so I don't want a really heavy pigmented stain. So this is gonna be very transparent. It's gonna highlight the wood, so we'll put it on there. I wanna go in a circular motion to make sure that I get all of this stain mixture here applied evenly. So I'll come back and I'll wipe it this way out. Got the clear in the gun, and we're gonna get to spraying. We're going for a full fill finish, just like a piano would have. So in order to seal the pores of the wood, we need to keep coating it, keep sanding it, smooth it out really well, and that's the way we're gonna get that look that Bill wants.
On builds like this, I like to have the design flow from the inside out. So the wood on the bed is going to flow all the way into the interior.
Now I got all the measurements and everything. We've got the shifter in and the doghouse, so we know everything's going to fit like we should. So now I just got to transfer all these measurements to a piece of chipboard, and then we'll start building this console. All right, now we got all the pieces cut out. We're going to put the base of the console together. Once we get it all together, we're going to go ahead and start on the top section of it. It's going to look pretty nice. I'm loving it so far. I think it's going to be just like what was envisioned. We're going to have two googly eyes here, some more googly eyes here, shifter right there, compartment with plenty of storage, plenty of room. You'll see when these sides go on, it's actually going to leave us a 1/4-inch gap in the center for our aluminum. That's going to run like a belt line all the way across here. And then we're going to have our lacewood veneer on the top. So where this lid opens up, I don't want to see screws. We have our center screws. We're going to attach from inside this panel through the aluminum and pull this together. So you'll give a real clean look without seeing one screw whatsoever. People are going to wonder how it's held together. Like most things I build, the console is a puzzle. You know, I build everything from inside out. It's the little details that count. A lot of extra work, but it's worth it in the end. I like it.
All the pieces of the COE puzzle are built, we got to complete the picture. That's installing the doors, adding the stereo, final electrical, and of course installing the beautiful hardwood and the running boards in the bed.
There has been a ton of work. I know I say that a lot of work in this thing.
The great thing about customization is you have this one idea, your one base idea to start off of. And once you start, getting into it, you're transforming your vehicle into something, your vision. There's always other ideas along the way that even make your vision greater. There's always something to put your personal touch on.
Once you do add that 1 or 2 pieces, now you got to keep going down the truck.
Snowballs.
Yeah. Everybody pushes the boundaries every year.
Well, that's one good thing about customization. It never does stop.
The wheels get bigger, tires get bigger, brakes get bigger, suspensions get taller, try to get lower. Same with stereo, same with changing paint. It's just on and on and on.
That's what's great about the industry that we're in. There's always something higher to reach for, something to improve on. The Ford COE has just been a huge build. Everybody at the shop has been pushing one another to create Big John something he can be proud of for years to come.
I've waited a long time for excited to get this COE back. How you doing?
Hey, man, good. Good to
Glad
see
you got out here.
Man, I always like coming out here and hanging out with you.
Well, I always loved having you. I invited my grandkids out here so they could see this because they all love the milk truck, but the bar was high on that.
That's right. I know, you won't accept nothing less than that for sure.
I hope you exceeded that bar on this one.
Absolutely. Been a long time coming. I know you're ready. You guys ready?
You're ready.
Let's check this thing out. Come on, John.
Awesome. You did good. Look at that rascal.
What's your name?
Yeah. I like it. Look at the blade. You hit the paint perfect. Compared to what it was.
The sun hitting this Lamborghini orange, this thing looks amazing.
Hey, Don.
Hey, John.
You had a hand in this one, doing this one?
Yes, sir.
You did the milk truck?
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic. You did an awesome job.
Thank you, sir.
Tell me everything about it. What all y'all do?
Now I got to tell you what we started with on this one, right?
We had a nasty truck.
Nothing lined up on this. There was rust everywhere. Months and months of metal work, just making everything
fit right.
We dropped the frame out of this thing, redid the suspension, powder coated it just by making a Western Hauler style bed. It just really fits this style of the truck.
Great. What type of wood is this?
That's a lace wood with mahogany inserts, and also brought it down into the running boards just to bring some color in that, contrast, and just be something that nobody's ever seen before.
I mean, the lines are beautiful. The wood cut is perfect. You come up with the extraordinary every time. I appreciate it.
Of course, he threw us a curveball on this thing.
We changed with the diesel motor.
Yeah, we had this thing almost all buttoned up as far as engine wise, and then with this nice curveball.
Oh, well, I knew y'all could handle it.
Let's check this out.
Let's go check it out. Whoa, that looks fantastic. Great.
How the little 4BT looks right at home in this thing, right?
It did that really good.
Well, I'm glad you made that call because this thing needed a diesel.
When y'all picked it up, it didn't look like that.
No, you definitely wouldn't want to pop the hood the way it was before, right? You see the intercooler tubes go up in there. Just, man, it makes this thing really stand out. Had the one-way diesel guys come down, they turn this thing up. It's got over 300 plus horsepower, probably 1 million foot-pounds of torque.
Should be Screamer now,
right? You ready to check out the interior?
You bet we are. Wow, you did fantastic. That looks good.
But you gotta have the comfort too, right?
Oh yeah, we gotta be able to cruise in it and enjoy it.
I mean, we started by ripping everything out of this thing and just starting fresh. Welded up all the holes in the dash and just woke this thing up. You know, brought that orange color inside.
I like the wood here, but you brought it in here.
Right?
That is beautiful. All
just had to tie it all together.
And the console too.
Not only that, this thing sounds good too. You got all new stereo on this thing. It's all Bluetooth. You know, new gauges, new AC, new everything.
The upgrades are unbelievable.
There's not anything in this thing from 1950.
That's true. That's true. This exceeded what I wanted. The orange, all the bling, the wood, that rollback roof, all of it's fantastic. I'm looking really forward to taking this truck out.
Bart, we said hi with the milk truck. How we do?
The milk truck's great, and this is better. If we ever do another one, you really gonna have some time. Thank you very much, John. Thank you very much.
Let's get this thing in.
Let's get it inside.
You know, this job was a long one for us. You know, every guy in the shop has hours and hours and weeks, in some cases months. And this is a long, labor-intensive build, which I'm very proud of how this thing turned out. It reminds me of how good my whole team is. I'm proud of each and every one of my guys. I couldn't do this alone, and I appreciate everything they do for me and all my customers. We got to redesign everything. If it was bolt-in and easy, then everybody do it. Ready to head to the future? 2020 Freightliner.
Whoa, heavy metal.
It needs to be able to push 45,000 pounds.
45,000 pounds?
We got to put some extensive style in it also. Oh, I'm definitely going to stay and watch this. I'm Bill Carlton. I built my first truck when I was 16. And ever since, me and my guys have been out here creating with our hands. Building the biggest, lowest, baddest custom trucks and cars in the game. People don't come here for what they need. They come here for what they want. This is Texas Metal. See the school right up here on the left? I went there the first year it opened. I was in 8th grade there. This old record's been with me a long time. You know, it's a tool for the shop. I spent a whole lot of time driving it all over Texas and even farther than that. Unfortunately, it's starting to show them years. Can I go? Can I go? It's time to make a change. And today's the day we're going to do that. We're going to get a brand new record. My old friends at RPM build customized records. They told me the new record is ready for pickup. What's happening, man?
What's up, Bill? You doing all right?
Yeah. I really appreciate you taking this thing on trade for me.
We got you. We'll get her fixed up and find a great home for her. Meanwhile, we'll put you in something head to toe under warranty.
Man, I can't wait to see this thing.
You ready to check it out?
I'm ready to check this thing out.
Let's see it.
That thing is bad. I've never even seen one of these on the road.
First one we built, and you got it.
That is cool. I wanted something bigger and meaner. And this brand new 2019 Chevy 5500 has way more bells and better. I can't wait to load something up on this thing.
Yeah. So we got you the 21-foot bed, stationary pylon. That stationary pylon so it doesn't move, because we never know what you're going to be doing with it. The new frame that they gave on this 4-door is real low to the ground, so you won't have to throw a lot of boards to get your low-profile cars up there.
You know I like it low.
Oh, yeah. No, that's right.
Brian, that's what I've been needing, man. Something really reliable and it looks really cool. And I really appreciate that.
Problem, Bill.
And man, you take this one, I'm gonna take that one. Thank you. I can't wait. It's like Christmas. Like I'm 10 years old again and Santa just came. I'm always looking for ways we can up our game. And this little upgrade's gonna make a big difference. I got a call from my old buddy Jewel. He wanted me to come by and check out a project that he's been working on for quite some time. What's happening, Jewel?
What's going on, Mr. Bill?
How you doing, man?
All right.
This is it, huh?
This is it.
Oh, El Camino, man, you don't see too many of these things.
That's right, Bill. 1973.
The El Camino had a run for almost 30 years. This one is a 4th generation in the past couple of years. We've had our hands on it by building a chassis, adding coilovers, and putting a new 6.2 in it. So I know you already have the chassis done. You already have the engine in this thing. What color is it going to be?
Black, shiny black.
Man, that's going to look good.
That's
There's
right.
only one thing left.
The interior. And that's where you come in there, Bill.
Yeah.
I need the interior to look like the outside of the car. Fabulous.
Well, you know we got you on that.
The reason I want Bill to do my interior because I like how he custom do everything.
So what are you thinking, Jewel?
This car's a 1973, man. I want it to look like a 2073.
So something totally futuristic. Just get rid of everything that's in here and come up with something totally custom.
That's what I'm looking for.
From these old bucket seats, you kind of want to stick with something like that.
What I need old for?
Chunk it. So something just totally unique, totally custom. As far as the dash, we'll come up with something that looks really cool. New cluster that might hold them things in a little better than that. New AC vents. We got to build you a really cool console that flows from the dash all the way back.
Right.
Totally free flowing and totally look futuristic.
That's what I'm talking about.
And as far as stereo,
I want them to hear me when I'm coming down.
so you want something loud looking, you want loud sounding.
See, Bill, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
This thing's going to be cool. It's going to be our first El Camino interior for sure. I'm ready. As soon as they get paint on this, have them drop it off, we'll get this thing. This has been a big project for Jewel. It's been years to get just to this point. And in the end, it's the tiniest details that take this whole thing over the top.
Clear? Yeah, we're clear. Coming down.
You know, El Camino is kind of the oddball. It's not really a truck. It's not really a car. So some people love them. Some people hate them. And Jewel loves them. Most definite challenge to make it different, making it futuristic and something that, you know, he can enjoy for years to come that won't be outdated. I'll know this thing is right when people walk up to this. They will automatically think this is a cool custom truck car.
Man, I kind of like these El Caminos, man. They're cool, dude. Man, I'm not a fan of them. I mean, come on, make up your mind. Do you want a car or do you want a truck? Pick something. That's what I'm saying, though. You can take it to church, look cool, and then still put your goats in the back. Oh, buff man.
Oh, here he is. Well, you guys know what we need.
A lot, yep.
This thing can be cool. You know, you want something relevant and futuristic that can stand the test of time.
What do you mean futuristic?
This thing is a 1973, and he says he wants a 2073 interior.
All right.
He don't want the same old seats, the same old console, and the same old dash that everybody else has. So we're going to hand make a brand new dash and a console.
Instead of gauges, we did kind of like a Tesla. You know, it has that big touch screen in the middle. We can have all your functions for media on the bottom and then the gauges on the top part of it.
Cool. It just sets this thing apart from everything else. So we got to redesign everything. Headliner, carpet, seats.
What do you mean seats? These seats are futuristic. Check this out. It doesn't get any more futuristic than this. No matter how many tacos you eat, you can always get in.
And not only just something that looks good, we want this thing to sound good. I mean, behind the seats,
plenty of room back there.
Have room for whatever you can dream up if there's room. I know you guys won't disappoint, man.
Never. You ready to head to the future? 2073. Let's get it.
Because it's a complete do-over, Heath and John are going to take this thing all the way down to the bare metal.
I'm gonna leave it back. Can you unplug the airbag for me?
Yeah.
This old dash is made of plastic. It's just gonna crack and crumble. There's no way we can fix it. So instead of messing with it, we're just gonna rip it out and build something new. So where we're going, we don't need no dash. Because we're making a new dash from scratch, it means a lot of work.
But it also means we can do whatever the customer wants. And as hot as it gets down here in Houston, he wants it cold.
Real cold. Super cold.
Normally, when you do an AC system in an old hot rod like this, you would have a flexible ductwork that's squished in certain areas so it slows it down. We're going to go directly to the evaporator, so it'll have a nice amount of air coming out of there. So what we're going to do is build our own vent system off of this. Basically, I'm making a box which will feed into the vent chamber. I'm going to curve this way so it forces the air that way instead of bouncing around in here. Our other vent's going to force it into a Y pattern. It's going to take the air and disperse it across this whole area straight up. Functionality-wise, I think it's going to be good. It's important that we get this plastic weld on the end. Pull it back and then push it forward, and it makes like a little bridge. Looks almost like a MIG weld. It takes a little longer than glue, but it works well. Real good way of bonding those plastics together. A lot of people, they're afraid to do a dash because it is a big undertaking. You can't be afraid. You can't have any fear. Once I built my first one, I was hooked because it really separates you from the crowd. Nobody will have another vehicle like yours. I've done interiors on cars that have been second, third place cars. And we do an interior with a dash in it, and now it's best to show everywhere it goes. So it's definitely worth it.
When a customer comes to us with this dream project like this 73 El Camino, it's on us to create something that's way over what he's expecting. That's why Heath is making the dash completely by hand.
Now what we're going to do is start designing the dash around our temporary vent. So I'm going to build the sides first. This shape right here determines the whole shape of this lower dash. Being that the air vent has got a different arc in the lower portion of the dash, these ribs are different all the way down. As they go and move along the dash, each one of these fits like I want to. It's a little bit extra effort, but it's worth it in the end. We have a structure now. I'm going to go ahead and skin the whole thing with 1/8 inch PVC so it's smooth with as little body work as possible. And then I'll go from there and form the rest of it with a little bit of heat, a little bit of pressure. Got to clip it around that metal on the bottom, line it up with the vent. That's cool. Now I just got to finish everything else.
You're halfway done to 3/4 of the way unfinished.
There you go.
Running it back to the shop. You know, we've done a lot of different builds over the years. Each one has their own little challenges. Any job, when you're building something totally custom, you're doing it for a purpose. This job is no different. The sheer scale of this one is what sets it apart.
What is this?
This thing is a 2020 Freightliner. 37,500 pounds empty. Damn. Right back over. The city has these wreckers well equipped to pull the biggest vehicles out of any jam. There's one problem with this that hadn't been addressed. It needs to be able to push 45,000, 50,000 pounds, off the road. That's not going to do it. Definitely not going to do it. So we need to make a push bumper for the front, and not just regular old heavy-duty bumper with some rubber pads. We got to put some extensive style in it also. It's got to be a custom bumper to be able to handle all that weight.
And this big, massive wrecker can do anything, but once we address the front end and it can push, it'll be able to do everything.
Correct. I'll get the gate. The smell. Man, just looking at this truck, you can just see the strength in it. Every part and piece is overbuilt. And we have to take that over the top thinking and really add a lot of strength to the front of this truck. You know, there's a lot of projects that come through the door where, you know, they have to have strength and style, but this one is times 100. It's a cool truck, huh? What we're doing is building a new super strong front bumper that'll be able to push 45,000 pounds.
45,000 pounds?
That definitely not gonna do it. That just fold up like a can. Before we get this thing all stripped apart, let's get some chipboard and really get a visual of how I want the bumper to look. It's supposed to be 24 inches, but you know, that corner right there, if the front wheel goes in a hole, this thing's just gonna dig right in. So the best thing to do is slope it up a little bit, you know, keep it from dragging on a curb and make it look a lot cooler too.
Yeah.
Man, you ready to get that plasma fired up?
Hell yeah. So with this bumper having to push 45,000 pounds, we're going to have to go with the thickest metal we can. 1/2-inch steel plate on your fingers. Whoa, heavy metal. Tell you, 1/2-inch plate definitely isn't a quick process. With the plate being thicker, the plasma has to penetrate a lot more metal, and it has to move slower so that when it does penetrate, it doesn't give us an angled cut. So have to slow down the whole process so we can get that perfect straight cut. Now just take it off the table, clean it up, see how it looks.
Really did a great job burning this out. 1/2-inch plate, super strong. This is exactly what this thing needs to be able to push the way it needs to push. The next thing we need to tackle is the bumper brackets. We're going to weld this bracket right to the back side of this plate here. Basically, it's going to tie to the front of the truck here and bolt to these bolts here. Then we're going to bend a 90 on it. That's where the strength needs to be to get out here on the side. So it's really critical to build a bracket that's really strong, coming all the way out pretty much to the end of the bumper.
That's hot and heavy.
Got it?
Yeah.
You ready to bend it? Let's bend it. We're gonna bend this at 1 3/4 inches. It's gonna have a lip on it. And that's gonna give us our side load. Let me slide it down this way a little bit. We've never bent the 1/2 inch on this machine before, so okay. Hopefully our brake. Well, that ain't gonna work. You know, with all the flash floods, hurricanes we get down here in Houston, the city wants a bumper on the 2020 Freightliner to be able to push 45,000 pounds. Our new 1/2-inch steel bumper is definitely going to do the trick, but our brake wouldn't do the job, wouldn't cut it. In this case, wouldn't bend it. Luckily, I got a guy right around the corner in the neighborhood. He's got a big enough press to get this job done, and that's where I'm heading right now. Tracy, what's up, man?
Not much. How are you?
Man, I'm doing good, but I got a little problem.
What you got?
I got a piece of 1/2-inch plate, 6 feet long. My brake just isn't cutting it.
1/2 inch? Come on now.
Can you help me out?
Let's take a look.
I know this is nothing for you,
Nothing.
man.
It's a little baby. we can help you out with this. Piece of cake for us. We do it all the time. We have a 1,000-ton press brake, so that's 1,000 tons of pressure coming down, so they can definitely bend some steel.
So from this line out, I needed 2 1/4. That's why it's at
different. Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Let's set it up and see what she does.
Compared to the steel that Casey bends from day to day, this bracket is tiny. So with this machine, they're going to just make sure they get the right angle. This thing bent that like butter.
Now you go like this.
Perfect. Look at it. Man, that. Thank you, man. This is exactly what we need. It's a perfect 90 degrees. Once we get this on the bumper, it's going to be able to push whatever's in front of it. You better look out. Don't get in its way.
The 1973 El Camino was the first generation of the swivel seats. Heath and John have convinced me to keep the swivel. But if we're going to make this design as futuristic as Jules asked for, the rest of the seat has to be totally custom.
As you can tell, this seat isn't very futuristic looking. We're going to strip it down, get all this off, get the foam out of it. We just need to figure out a mount and a shape for our headrest mount that we're going to have on here. This has to go. Coming up with this seat design, I kind of thought of what you would see in, like, sounds kind of corny, but like a spaceship or something, without being too spacey. Transfer this to expanded PVC. We're going to use a router because it's got a flush trim bit on it. We can go all the way around, and every piece we make will be the exact same size. There we go. Looking pretty good. We're going to set it in the car, see what it looks like. So far, I like it. And now we just got to get the foam looking futuristic like the rest of the seat. It's going to look cool. What we're using for this seat is a high-density foam that lets us get a good hard line for our shapes and the design that we're going after. Even though I'm not a huge fan of El Caminos, in all honesty, it just makes me want to take this one over the top even more, so even I love it. Take some PVC, heat mold that into place. We're going to use a weighted sandbag here once it's all nice and hot. You mean this? Yeah, go for it. It'll mold and bend in the way we want to, kind of contour to the seat. That way the sandbag gets its hands burnt and not me. The cool thing about doing things custom is you know that no one else is going to have it. It's going to be one of a kind. I like the creative aspect of it and actually making something out of my mind. I tried sitting down at a desk one time. It didn't work out for me. I could not do it. Cool. Then we'll be ready to wrap it. All right, that bad boy's clean, so. All right, now we're moving into the center console. What we're going to do is build a base that looks like the floor and give the effect of a floating console. So now I've just got to router it out with the router, and then we can start assembling this false floor. Cool, that fits. All right, looks like it's fitting pretty good. Now I got to figure out the sides, make chipboard templates in here, and then replicate those out of 1/4-inch PVC, and then we'll attach it to the side. I can put a little heat to it, fit it a little better around these bottom corners, especially since we're right next to the gas pedal here. We don't want nothing protruding. It's always good to run a heat gun in 100-degree Texas weather. All right, set this sucker in here. Uh-oh. It's not gonna fit. That's not gonna work.
Even though we're building a custom one-of-one interior on this 73 El Camino, it's definitely not a blank slate. Because we gotta build in the confines of the original design of the close creativity happens.
Well, as you can see, this thing isn't gonna swivel. It's too wide here, too tall. We're gonna have to modify this console. So, looks like I got work to do. Doing custom stuff like this, there's always something, man. So, you can't let it get to you. If it was bolt in and easy, then everybody do it. So, it ain't easy being cool. We barely clear, but we clear. Now we can make some plastic. Being that there's 3 layers, we have to bend it and then stack and then bend it and stack and bend it and stack. When you heat it, the molecules expand, which is going to push it down. First piece, heat it, bend it, attach it. Second piece, plastic. Heat it, bend it, attach it. Our third piece, heat it, bend it, attach it. Got all that cut out. Grind these corners like I want. Now you can see all 3 pieces line up. It's going to give a nice, cool effect, man. Still got some detail work to do, but it looks awesome.
Yeah, man.
See what we got.
Think it's gonna fit?
Yeah.
Rudy's done an awesome
awesome job getting these half-inch steel pieces ready. Now we can tack them on the truck. Okay, next piece, we got our upper bumper bracket. Poke 2 holes in this. We'll be able to bolt that sucker. This really supports the edge of the bumper out here. It's gonna look good. This thing looks mean. Compared to what it was before, what it is now, night and day. Man, let's sit there and tack it. The placement of the bumper pieces are really important to give it the right form and function. Hey, hold that big flat bar up against it. It looks like it's too far in on the top. Here, let's just tack it to it. You know, the long straight edge right there, you can see exactly where the grill is versus the straight edge. It's farther out on this side from the fender to the top of the bumper. Fender, see it? You have the straight edge with the grill and the bumper, you know it's on the money. Pulled it a lot, huh? This thing looks good, huh?
Looks damn good.
Yeah, we got a great start, but right now it just looks like we found a piece of plate 45 the corners and make the wheel opening continue all the way down into the bumper. So from the side, it looks like it fits the truck. That'll work. Let's go with that. All right.
All right. I think we got enough stitch welds on this thing to transport it over to my welding table. So being our big beefy bumpers made out of half-inch plate, my welding process is going to be stepped up just a little bit. For this one, I'm going to have to crank the speed up and the voltage up. So voltage is how hot you're going to be welding. So for thinner metal, you want to keep the voltage down. That way you don't just burn right through the metal. And for the thicker metal, you want the voltage up pretty high. That way you get it nice and hot and actually penetrate into the metal. You want your wire speed up high. Because you're burning really hot, you want there to be enough material to come out and burn into the metal. Well, it looks like we're done welding our bumper completely out. What we're going to do next is we're going to go ahead and grind down our welds on the top of the bumper and the front of the bumper, make it look nice and smooth, and then send it over to powder coat.
It floods, which is the whole reason for the new bumper for the 2020 Freightliner. Because sometimes the city has to push big rigs out of the way and fast. Now that the bumper is back from powder coat, it's time to cut some rubber for an extra layer of protection. Is you? Man, I need some speakers in here, man. It's a push bumper for the big 18-wheeler record, so we need to clad the front of this with rubber. What I need your help with is making a jig for this thing so we can stick the rubber to it and route it. There's no way to do it with a razor knife.
You never want to mess your rubber up.
You know, this is definitely one of those steps that nobody ever knows that you do. We're taking the time to make sure all the edges, sure this is right when it leaves and looks as good as it can. Man, let's make it just a little cooler. Maybe 3 lines in here. You know, we'll cut out little windows in this. It won't affect anything when it's pushing, but it'll give us a little more color on the front. If we could just spend a little bit more time to make it a lot better project, man, it makes me sleep better at night. Ooh, thank God it didn't break that. I really appreciate your help. All the edges look real good, nice and straight and clean. Flip this thing over, put the lights on, and stick it on the truck.
Start pushing some stuff over, huh?
We gotta test it out with something. Maybe we'll test it out with heat.
I don't know if it's that strong.
What are you doing?
We just built the bumper on Big Wrecker, right?
I want to test it.
You're gonna push the toter with the wrecker.
Rudy's backing it up right now. You want to check it out?
Oh, I'm definitely gonna stay and watch this.
A statement for sure.
That thing looks really good. It fits the truck now, like perfect.
Yeah, and this bumper ain't no punk either. That's not 1/4 inch plate. That's 1/2 inch thick.
You're definitely not gonna bend that one. No, it just fits and flows like it came with the truck. From the engineering to the form to the function to the overall style, the looks. Yeah, I did a real good job.
That's the point, right?
Look just as good as I do coming down the road.
Anybody else hear that dog?
From where this thing was, it was just wheat. And now, this thing is super strong. And if Timmy's impressed, you know we built something cool. It definitely looks good, fits good. We want to make sure it works good.
See what it do. Ain't nothing to it, Rudy. Man, got it, man.
And no flex at all.
Man, no problem.
That's four-man function right there.
Right?
No problem at all. 45,000 pounds is nothing for this bumper. I definitely think not only looks good, works good, functions good, and it's super strong.
And y'all didn't tear up the toter home.
Yeah, I know you was worried about that. Before we took on the interior, we've been working with Jewel on this 73 El Camino for a while now. We installed a new LS, and Matt's getting this thing running.
Now that we got the motor all in it, I got to finish up a couple little things, and hopefully with some luck, it'll fire right up. This is an LS3 throttle body. We just got it painted to kind of go with the overall appearance, better look. The throttle body allows, when you hit the gas pedal, the accelerator pedal, it'll open up and allow the air to flow in. I'm going to go ahead and put the cold air intake on that we had made for it. They're not made to go in the cars we put them in, so there's always little quirks that we got to work. They're flexible, so you can kind of bend them out of the way as you need, keeps them away from the headers. They can handle some heat, but direct contact isn't good for them. Now we're going to try to start it and see where we go. Everything's looking good. Motor sounds strong. We're ready to get this thing on the road and see what it can do.
You know, door panels are just one of those things you may never even notice. When a customer like Jewel says he wants something futuristic, something like no one else has, hand-making custom panels, well, that's everything.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to try to scavenge this lower portion of the door panel. The only piece I really need is this top rounded edge. And I can make it myself, but it just saves me a lot of time. Now we've got these taken apart, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and start our template process. To get our template, I have to destroy this panel now. It's going to piss off El Camino owners because this is probably a hard panel to find for some people that don't want a custom interior. Now it'll be useless when I cut this pocket out, but it's perfectly useful for me because I need to make a template. So go find another one sometime. You find little tricks that make it go faster. And more important, you make it look like you have it in your head the first time. However, it takes a long time to get to that point. What I'm going to do is a technique called kerping. Kerping is a process that allows me to bend the material. And I'm going to put the fiberglass reinforced filler on there, which will hold that shape.
Use this piece to kind of mark the bottom of that dash.
So when I make my inserts, it's all going to line up and the lines are going to flow correctly. To me, that's one of the biggest things, is that everything lines up, everything flows, it looks like it belongs. It was done correctly with a purpose. Perfect. our base panel lines up with the base panel of the dash, and our bottom side lines up with the bottom of the dash. That's good. So we just got to duplicate it on the other side. Man, it's going to look really cool. Now that we got the console laid out, it's where it needs to be. Next thing, and the most important thing we need to do, is put some tunes in this car. I'm going to go with a smaller driver, put it in a ported enclosure. That way I can tune the enclosure, get more bass out of it, and we'll really make something cool in the back of this car. All I want to do now is cut a hole for the woofer and a hole for the port. And just like that, hole in the box. Basically what the port does is it tunes the enclosure, get this sound real nice and crisp and tight and solid. We're going to run with a 14¼ inch port. The longer the port, the lower the tuning frequency. This box is tuned at 32 hertz. Now that we got the port in the box, all I got to do, put a little sealant around the outside. I'll run on the inside with some liquid nails to hold it in place, good and solid. This box is finished. What up, man? What's up, brother? I got us a box. All right. With all we're doing, the speaker box on its own just ain't gonna look right.
Yeah, so it's gotta look seamless, so we're making a panel to blend it into the entire design.
It's gonna be dope.
We're trying to get some depth on the box, give it some dimension, instead of just being a square box back here, because we don't want a big block on the side of this thing when you open the door. We want it to be nice and flowing from the doors all the way to the dash. This thing's gonna be cool. The next thing we want to do is start working on the bottom. And I'm gonna kerf it, that way it'll bend and we'll get a nice curve to go back in on itself and get a good shape on this enclosure.
Now that we have the curved wood in here, we just need to just get it to fit just right and we'll fiber all it in. The main important thing to me was this transition, making these curves more natural looking, helps it all flow back into the car. We don't want it to end, so we're going to continue it all the way through, make one complete piece of art. It fits the panel real good now. We just got to do some grinding, shaping, body working, and she's ready to wrap.
You just made that sound like it was like 10 minutes of work.
It is. I ain't doing it. The technology and stuff that everybody has nowadays, it's setting a precedent right now where everything looks machine made. Yeah. And I didn't get into this to be a CAD man, you know?
No, not at all, you know.
I got into this to build cool stuff.
We try to use the machinery as much as we can to speed up some processes, but you still have to have that organic feel. When I got started, computers weren't even around. I know how to turn them off and turn them back on.
Yeah.
That's see if I broke it or not.
It's not working, turn it off, turn it back on. Or just go make it by hand.
Yeah. It's a lot easier that way sometimes.
What drives me crazy is, you know, people will spend all this money on paint, wheels, tires, suspension, and they get to the interior and they just tint the windows or just say, oh, well, I'll just paint some pieces.
Yeah. Too many times you walk up to a car and you're like, man, that is nice. And you miss that point.
Exactly. That's where you're at in the car. You know what I mean? That's what you see.
Spend all your time inside the car.
Inside the car. Hopefully, if it's built right, you're not working on it on the outside all the time. You're driving it.
Originally came in wanting red interior on that 73 El Camino, but that classic red, it just doesn't scream the future. So we changed it up, with his blessing of course, to a clean, modern blue leather.
We got our seat ready to wrap, and we got this blue leather here. We'll give it a good contrast with the car, give it a nice futuristic feeling. We'll take the patterns that I just made, cut it out, glue them to some foam, hit the sewing machine. You know, when we're doing our custom seats, they're far different from doing any factory seats. Our factory seats already have patterns. Everything on these have to be figured out, you know. There is no rule book on how this is supposed to go together. You just gotta kind of shoot for the stars.
Now, we move on to wrapping everything. I'll start working my way through the door panels and move on and get the whole car done. Gotta wrap each individual piece, reassemble, put back on the vehicle, and repeat that process over and over again.
What's happening? What's happening? What's happening?
Man, this thing came out pretty cool, dude.
Yeah.
Got the gauges up there.
all connected through OBD2 and Bluetooth. So it just transmits all the data from the motor to the tablet.
And radio and media center, everything at the bottom. I like that, man.
Got that trim panel for it?
Yeah.
Let's see how she looks on there. Yeah, see, that finishes it off nice.
You know, El Caminos have always stood out just for what they are. Part muscle car, part truck. But I can safely say there's never been another one created like we made here. So we're going to take Jewel back to the future so he can see his 2073 interior for the first time.
Jewel, what's happening, man?
Hey, what's going on, Bill?
What do you think about this place?
Man, this is a nice place here.
You gotta set the tone, right? You wanted something futuristic? You know, what better place to give you this thing back than a DeLorean Motor Company?
I can't wait to see it, man.
This car I know has been a labor of love for you. You've been waiting on it for a couple of years. We built it in stages for you. We built the chassis, the new LS in it, good brakes. You wanted...
I'm tired of hearing you talk about it. I want to see something.
I know you got me
waiting. See something.
Man, let's check this thing out.
All right. I know that ain't it, man.
That's the same one, man.
Bill. That's what I'm talking about. It look mean when it comes to you.
It's a presence when it's coming at you, right?
Bill. Totally different car, man. Totally different car. Ooh, man. Look at that steering wheel,
he's
man.
the one that's, you know, created this interior, this thing.
Man. Ooh, I love you for that, man. I love you, man. Come on, man. Give me a hug, man. I love you for that, man. Man. Car look real good, man. I'm talking about real good. It can't look no better.
You know, when it came in, man, it was rough. It's definitely took some time, but it's been a labor of love to really make you something special.
When you said 2073, you weren't playing around, Bill. Man, it smells brand new. It smells brand new. Look at them seats, man. Them seats just make me want to just sit on them.
That seat isn't something you can just go by. These guys shaped every part and piece of this,
man,
and then they wrapped each individual piece.
That seat calling my name now, man. That seat is calling my name, man.
When it first came in, the dash that was in there just wasn't going to come from scratch. We handmade everything on this thing. We heated and molded all these pieces to get that futuristic shape. See, you see that big line in the middle of the dash?
Yeah.
You know what that is?
What's that?
That's your air vent. When you turn your AC on, it blows a solid line of air right at you all the way across.
And y'all done took it to another level. A whole nother level. Oh, man. The seats, the headline, the center console, carpet, everything match. Can't ask for it to be done no better.
What you don't see is any gauges in the dash. Yeah. That's where they come up with something really cool.
That tablet has all your gauges up top. The lower one down there has your radio.
2073.
That's what I'm talking about.
2073.
Tell them about the system in it.
Yeah, we got a Rockford Fosgate 5 channel in here. 10-inch subwoofer. We put on one side, kind of like they would in the future. You have components in the kick panel, and everything's run off a cool app that works just like a radio, but you got navigation, you got everything.
I ain't even seen this in the new cars yet.
Right? I'm just really impressed with the interior in this. I mean, starting from scratch, building something that's never been seen before, and giving Jules something really that's amazing. You know, shoot, I'm even amazed myself. I can't say enough about, you know, Heath, John, all the guys at the shop. They always step up, putting their heart and soul into...
I'm right on up, because I ain't never seen nothing like this. Man, this is everything I can ever want. Come on, man, give me another hug, man. Give me another hug, man.
I'm glad you like it, man.
Yeah.
You're actually making something that no one else is making. No one else will make it.
I cannot wait to see this. What is this, man? This thing's huge. You know, it's a 1996 International 4700. You want to fix up a dump truck? Huh? This truck is the biggest and heaviest that we've done to date.
Everything on this thing was just pie cut and welded together.
This is way above par.
That's mine? Wow!
I'm Bill Carlton. I built my first truck when I was 16. And ever since, me and my guys have been out here creating with our hands. Building the biggest, lowest, baddest custom trucks and cars in the game. People don't come here for what they need. They come here for what they want. This is Texas Metal. you can see, we're really busy around here. The parking lot's always full. You know, each times, you know, starts and finish really quick. Sometimes, you know, a vehicle comes in and it gets put on pause. Life happens, right? So you just want to finish that thing. You want to get it out the door, but, you know, sometimes it doesn't happen like that. It eats at me for sure. You know, I mean, everybody sees it. You know, why is that there? What's going on with that? You know, eventually that thing will come back around. You get it going again. You finally get that thing finished. It's a definite sense of accomplishment. Me and Sean go way back since high school. We did a body drop back in '95 on his Chevy S10. Sean's been waiting to do another build for a while, and I think I finally have the right project for him.
This it? All right.
You know, the owner is just way too overwhelmed with this truck, so it's a perfect opportunity for Sean to buy it and take it over.
Man, I've always liked the unibody ever since I've seen the one y'all built years ago.
Yeah, they're super rare. I mean, this is something, you see these body styles a lot, but nothing like that. I mean, it's unique. Most of this truck is a 1968 Chevy C10, but with a little twist. It's a 68 Chevy Caddy. We built a whole new frame, front to back, that's already built. There's new doors, new fenders. You know, there's a late model 5.3 in it, 24x10s, 24-15s in the back with a 9-inch in it that's already been narrowed. The old dash has been cut out and a 56 Chevy dash put in it. This thing is a perfect start for you because you can put your own personal touch on it. You know, with the right colors, right wheels, tires, and getting this thing running. It'd be a cool project.
I like the fact that there's a lot of stuff started on it, but I'm gonna be able to finish it my way, the way I want to do it.
I know how you like to color match.
Well, I mean, you got to keep my shirt and shoes matching, keep it fresh.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So we can bring a little bit of color inside the interior, match the chassis color, and have a little contrast with the body color.
Yeah, I like that.
You know, I see Sean liking this thing. Hopefully he can see, you know, past all the work that had to be done and just see the vision for this project. You know, on the back of this thing, I think something that would be really cool to really set this thing apart even more would be building an aluminum bed cover on this. It just continues that smoothness all the way down from the front bumper all the way to the back.
Keep it real clean.
Exactly.
First time I saw Bill, first day of my freshman year of high school, he pulled up in his long bed, lowered, square body Chevy truck. I was like, man, I don't know who that is, but we got to get in with him. Let's do this.
Let's do it.
Let's go.
You know, everybody that has a car shop, automotive repair shop, custom shop, there's always a project or two that's sitting around back that just doesn't quite get finished. This one's no different. Project like this, they snowball into dreaming big. And when you dream big, sometimes your pocketbook can't hang with the dreams. You come in for one thing, next thing you know, you're building a chassis for it, changing the motor, and totally stripping it down to where you're at. You know, this is a prime example for that. I'm digging it out of the back and getting going on it, man. I've got high hopes for it.
So the rumor's true?
You got it, man. You know, my boy Sean's taking it over.
Wow.
Yeah, we're going to dig this thing out and get this thing going and finish it up. New owner, new plan. You know, a normal C10 truck has the body and then the bed totally separated. You know, we made this thing a unibody. We welded bed sides right to the cab, a custom tailgate skin, smooth bed floor, a 56 Chevy dash, and a 68 front end. You know, we got a work to be done. I mean, just from the front of this thing, you know, getting the grill, all the sheet metal back on this thing and seeing what we have, what we still need to get. New glass all the way around, flush mount, you know, something that looks really nice. So you already know Sean's style. You know, every time he comes in, he's got to have the shirt and shoes matching, you know.
So we're going to paint it yellow wheels with green trim on it? Typically his favorite colors.
You know, Sean's got to coordinate, so interior is going to match the engine, chassis, you know, make everything color coordinate, which leads to the bed, which me and you, buddy, are going to build a bed cover for this thing out of aluminum, you know, flush with the top of the bed, something that just makes this thing slick all the way from the front to the back.
I mean, it's crazy to think you unibodied this thing 7 years ago.
It's been a minute.
7-year build.
This thing has a ton of work and a ton of memories in it. You know, we got a huge head start. We still have a lot of challenges in front of us for sure. Me and you start doing the bed cover in the back.
I don't see where we get the head start from.
The custom bed cover we're making is going to sit flush with the top of the bed, but it's also going to open and close. So I had Jesse make some cool custom hinges.
Did all right.
Man, he did good, man. I know this thing's a pain in the butt to make, man. It takes forever. Rudy, the first thing we need to do is make a brace from side to side that holds the hinges. All we have to do is weld it in place and start building our bed cover.
All right, so the first thing I gotta do is cut down my 1.5 inch square tubing to fit inside the bed. Then we'll go ahead and start making our modifications inside the square tubing so we can fit our new bed cover hinges. Got my tabs tacked in. Looks like it's gonna be right where we need it. Our hinge is giving us enough lift and enough articulation, so this thing is ready to go.
Man, this is exactly what we needed, Rudy. This metal work that's already was here is a little inconsistent. That'll create a lot of body work later, so why don't we just cap it with the piece of sheet metal to go from this edge all the way over and then down and have a little lip out here. Then it'll be laser straight all the way around this thing. Then we'll have a nice bed for the bed cover to sit right onto. We'll just cut this sucker here. This is going to make for a lot faster installation, and you know, there's little ways to make things easier. You learn as you go, you know, all the little tricks of the trade. And one thing we learned is not just tacking, looking down it, stepping back and maneuvering. Use a straight edge. So we're clamping a straight edge. We know it's straight both ways, this way and that way. There's no second guess. There's no wondering if it's right. You know exactly. You can just tack down it, keep rolling, go to the next step. And this is just one little trick of the trade.
So before we slap our aluminum sheet metal on top, we need to build a frame for this thing. We don't want the sheet metal going all wonky on us when we're opening it up. So that's why we place these ribs across so we can use it to simulate the bottom of the sheet metal. So all I have to do is just mark it, take the hinge off, trim it, come back and put it on, and get my actual frame piece, and tack them up, and then we'll move on from there. Got my hinges marked up, so all we're gonna do now is take them off, go ahead and trim them up. I left enough room on the bottom and back side of the hinge so we get enough weld on there, give us enough strength to hold this bed cover. Alright, we'll get our top rib here to simulate our aluminum sheet metal, push the hinges all the way up, make full contact with them.
That's good, Rudy. Very, very good. This is the most critical stage of making everything right. That way the gaps stay perfect, everything stays the same all the way around, and you don't damage paint when it goes up and down 20 times. So it should be closed, and we'll open that sucker up. Works good. I mean, just to this point is a ton of work that nobody's ever gonna know, but if this isn't right, that affects everything else. So now the rest is just work. You know, just like any part of a project, you got to have a plan. And our plan on this is building from the inside out. So we need to build all the framework first, make sure all the kinks are worked out before we put the final little skin on the top of it. Finished welding out the bed cover frame on the C10 unibody. You know, to make sure this thing has plenty of room to close, we're going to shave off the top of the wheel tubs.
All right, so now we got our bed cover mocked up. Everything fits nice and good. The only issue we're seeing is there isn't that much clearance between the bed cover and the wheel well. So what we're going to do here, fill it back in nice and flat, and that's going to give us plenty of clearance between the wheel well and the bed cover. I got my lines drawn out of how much I want to cut off. I'm anticipating that this 4-inch cut off the top of this round wheel well, probably going to take it down about a 1/4 inch. Next step is make my nice flat pieces out of 16 gauge sheet metal.
to straighten out my panels here because obviously we went from a curved edge to what's now going to be a straight edge. So I just want to make sure and get my sheet metal nice and flat, so whenever I put my flat piece in, we get a good, nice transition from curved to flat. So as I'm tacking my filler piece in, I'm using these super strong magnets. This helps me make a nice flat top as I'm applying pressure to my filler piece to my round fender well. All I have to do is fully weld it all out, grind it smooth, and this baby's all done. Let's see how much clearance we got. So this would be the bottom of our aluminum. Looks all good. So now, I'm gonna go ahead and throw the frame on there, skin it with the aluminum.
When you've been building custom trucks as long as I have, you kind of get in the habit of saying this is going to be a big build. There are big builds and there's just huge builds. And yeah, there's a difference. Today I'm out here at Ocean Corp to see my boy John Wood. What's happening, John?
Oh, hey, Bill, how are you?
You know, John runs a training school for underwater welders and commercial divers.
Hey, man, how you doing?
What's happening, man? Yeah.
Good to see you, man.
What is this, man? This thing's huge. Where'd you get this thing at?
I bought it from Florida Highway Department. It was an asphalt truck.
You want to fix up a dump truck?
Huh?
Man. You know, it's a 1996 International 4700. You know, that's usually used for hauling, commercial applications, or even as a dump truck. You know, I can say for sure we never customize one of these. For starters, I don't even think we have a lift big enough for this.
I just like the look of it. I thought this is kind of like the world's first jumbo pickup truck.
We got an old highway department dump truck that you want to make cool.
Yes, sir. That's it. Something
yeah, that's
cool.
all.
Yeah, that's it. That's no lift for you. You can do anything. I got the inspiration. I wanted a big, kind of funny monster military high water vehicle, and I liked the shape of the crew cab on this truck.
What are you going to use this thing for?
Marketing for the company. I want to be able to skid mount diving stuff or NDT stuff somebody can do with a little creativity with a fun truck. And it'll be a toy, too. I mean, you can't minimize the toy value.
Right, right. Man, let's check out the back of this thing.
Check this thing out.
Yeah, this got to go.
Yeah.
Just take this whole dump bed off and just start fresh.
Right.
Shorten the wheelbase, put some air suspension on it, make you a nice new bed, something you can take on and off, you know, easily.
Can't forget the cool factor, though. It's got to be cool.
Well, for sure.
I'd like the dump truck to attract attention. I want it to be cool above all. It's got to be flashy and fun and interesting and different. It's got to be different.
What's in the inside of this thing?
Oh, that's a different story.
Man, there's a whole lot of ugly and yellow.
Yeah.
Man, John, once you pull up in this thing, it's going to draw a crowd immediately. When you open the door on this,
no, you
can't have this.
Can't have that.
We got to start off by, you know, covering these seats, putting some carpet in this thing, make it look a lot better. I mean, something you can show off. What's under the hood?
Big diesel. What more do you want?
Shoot, how many miles on this thing?
120,000. So that's not
Ain't
bad
even broke in yet.
No.
This is a turbocharged 444E. It's a million miles. Maybe get rid of the water hose and the electrical tape.
I kind of like that electric tape hanger. That's kind of nice, yeah.
Look at the front of this thing.
I tell you, you're not digging on my school bus yellow.
Man, we got to get rid of this.
No bueno.
No. You thinking of any colors or anything you want to see on this?
Whatever you think is going to pop and be interesting and fun and exciting.
So you're trusting me on this one?
Pretty much.
I'll come up with something cool for sure, man.
Yeah.
For sure. Man, this is going to be a fun little project, man. The only thing is, this thing isn't going to fit on my record.
No.
I guess I'll see you at the shop. Huh?
You want me to sneak it over there?
Extensive has worked on a ton of vehicles over the years, like Kodiaks, F650s, you know, a lot of big vehicles, but this truck is the biggest and heaviest that we've done to date. Dealing with the size and weight of this vehicle adds to the challenge of the whole overall build. One of the first things you do before you even get started tearing anything apart is just taking into consideration the jacks you have to use, the jack stands, the impacts that you use on a vehicle this heavy. Not to mention, you know, picking the right suspension, building a 4-link heavy enough, the lift high enough and sturdy enough to hold. I think I'm absolutely crazy. They already do anyway. This is probably going to prove it.
What in the world we got here now? Ain't no telling. We gotta climb up this thing? Why do we have a dump truck?
This old Mr. Wood's new project, you know, unique guy. Want something unique?
True John Wood fashion. He's always had some crazy idea of what he wanted.
Well, that's the problem. We got a dump truck, but he doesn't want a dump truck. Oh, Mr. Wood wants something just to go anywhere, do anything, all-purpose, militaristic, cool-looking truck. You know, first thing we'll do is dump the dump bed. It's got an extra long wheelbase. We're going to shorten the wheelbase, bring it down to a 60-inch cabbed axle, and put a stake bed on it. We definitely got to upgrade the suspension on this thing, give it a nice look. Just get the stance right with the militaristic wheels and tires, helper bags on the back so he can still haul whatever he wants to haul. Get the mechanics right underneath the hood. Somebody had some creative fixes underneath the hood, you know, make sure all that's right and do something with the interior. There's a whole lot of ugly inside this thing right here.
That reminds me of my old high school bus. I bet it smells like your high school bus too. I've been trying to forget that smell for years.
Let's get this thing in front of the shop. Let's get it all tore down. Just get this thing as light. As is, the International weighs well north of 10,000 pounds, which is past the top capacity of our lift. So I'm gonna have little one cut off the bed and boxes, and hopefully it'll get us right under.
We're about to cut off this dump truck bed with a torch. It's too much thick plate, too many old boats. It's better to just get rid of it with some nice fire. It's a good thing we got forklifts so we can get the bed up and we can see exactly what we gotta cut. Yeah, I gotta get that pin out to release the hydraulic cylinder and get this damn bed off. Free at last.
You know, when we pull the bed off most trucks, we can just manually lift it. But we got to get creative to lift this bed and just lift it safely.
Took 2 forklifts, a little bit of fire, and some help. We got the dump bed off. Now it's time to get these boxes off. I like to live life on the edge. Stripped away from the truck. Now we gotta see what this thing weighs.
You know, this lift is rated for a maximum 10,000 pounds. So we're gonna take the extra precaution of have this thing weighed so we know exactly what we're working with before we even put it on the lift. And if it's still too heavy, we're gonna have to go back to the cutting board. You take on a model vehicle that you've never worked with before, especially the size of this international dump truck, is going to create all new challenges for us. What that means in reality, we got to do a lot of setup work before we even start to build.
Got some bad news.
10,020.
Yeah, we're 20 over.
But you weighed it with you in there, right?
Right.
So you weigh about 120, something like that. So we're 100 pounds under.
We're good to go then.
You know, our lift's rated for 10,000 pounds. We got 9,920 pound truck. So we're about to put it to the test and see if it's really rated for what that sticker says right now. 15 inches.
15?
15. You know, pushing and pulling on it, its weight can shift. Especially with something this size, it can get really dangerous really quick. So we're welding 15-inch extensions from the frame directly to the lift, so this thing won't move anywhere.
I need a favor, amigo. Oh, I need it welded like that.
You know, with a build this big, you have to build parts to be able to build the parts to be able to build it big.
Adiós con Dios. So just like life, everything has to be in balance. The ideal spot for the extensions to go is where the lift is centered to the cab, so the weight of the engine doesn't rock forward and the weight of the rear doesn't rock back. Alright, moment of truth finally. We're gonna get this thing in the air. It's 10,000 pounds, 10,000 pound lift. We should be good. I'm gonna double check the front. I'm a little nervous course, I gotta make sure that everything's good before I go up in the air and 10,000 pounds over me. I'll get crushed like a little L1 pancake. That's good. I'll work comfortable right there. There's a lot of weight up here. Everything we do from here on out has to be very particular so that we make sure we don't go too much overweight or overweight at all. It's hard. One tiny mistake and we're gonna have a huge problem.
We made the bed cover hinges, frame, and skin for the 68 unibody. Now Rudy and I can install the struts. Think that's gonna work, man? Cool, it ought to get plenty of height. I know they're gonna be strong enough.
Oh yeah.
You look like you're skiing right there.
All right, guys.
All right. All right, man. Thank you, man. Good work, Jesse. It's good, man. Thank you.
All right, man. See you guys' hands now.
Let's see if them shocks work. Man, looks good, man. There's plenty of room. Backpack, cooler.
Tote full of shoes. He'll be happy about that.
Yeah, his whole lineup of shoes. That'll work good, man. Well, you know, last thing, getting the skin on. Once the skin's on, that's it. You know, the old truck's been sitting around the shop for a couple of years. You know, it's really good to get it back out, get it going again, get this thing finished up. I mean, it's going to be a really cool truck once it's all done. For support off and start screwing the metal down. There's nothing to hold the frame perfectly flat. So we're just putting a couple of little spacers in here. So then when we put our sheet on it, we can put pressure drilling down, and it's not going to push our frame down, leave it sagging down like that.
Man, for once, it's starting to look like a complete truck, huh?
Yeah, looking good, man. We pre-marked where the bottom framework is, so we're just marking so we know where the center of the frame is on the sheet. So we're gonna pre-drill the sheet, run tech screws in it so everything fits nice and tight. And then we can pull the whole thing off, and then we can get Jesse to TIG it to the framework so it's one complete bed cover then. This thing will be ready for body work. You know, Chevy never made a C10 truck with a cab welded to the bed. You know, it took a lot of work getting here, but to make all those lines look right, it's going to take a lot of body work. And with everything we got going on at the shop, we're going to need some help. We're going to need some help bad. Man, what's up, dog? Good to see you. You know, it's not every day you can just pick up the phone and call one of the best body and paint guys around. And him just get in his truck and trailer is a true friend.
Man, you saved me once again, man. I mean, I know Tennessee isn't right around the corner.
Man, it was right down the street, you know what I mean? 12 hours around the corner, but we got it. You know what I mean? What you gonna do with this one this time?
I just want to start totally fresh with this thing.
Bare metal up.
Blast it, spray it, make the gaps right, make this thing look good, make us look good.
You got it, man. That's what we do.
Thank you. You know, Zane's going to give this truck a lot of attention at his shop and then bring it right back to us.
This is a tremendous amount of work. This thing's been here since I first started hanging out. And it's just sat outside and been neglected for all these years. You know, I mean, it's super cool to see it finally getting, you know, the love that it deserves. I'm just going to hammer down, drive through the night, and get back home so we can get going on this thing first thing Monday morning.
The C10 unibody is getting bodyworked by Zane. John's going to create a seamless look on the inside of the cab with a handmade speaker box.
With it being a unibody truck, we're going to take the subwoofer box and actually build it into the truck and mold it in so there's no seams or anything. It'll all be part of the truck and we'll wrap it all as one piece. We'll do some router work. We're going to make some trim rings, some base plates, stack this thing up, give it some depth, some contour, work it in so it's not just a mud work. The important thing here is to lay it as smooth as you possibly can so you don't have to sand as much. It's probably one of my least favorite things to do, but one of the things that I have to do the most. What we'll do now is we'll just take that, let that round dry, and then we'll finish out the other side and it should come out pretty easy.
We put a lot of different truck components together to make this C10 unibody. So all the bodywork has to be on point to make this thing perfect. Our guys in Dunlap, Tennessee are doing just that.
Pretty big day at the shop. Tons of body work going into this thing. We had the truck all blasted down to bare metal. The guys built the bed cover from scratch. Very nice stuff. So what we're gonna do now is just perfect what they had already started. So what we're doing now is taping off the jam to get the bed cover to meet the bed sides. It's a little low in a couple of spots that a little light filler will take care of. Don't be afraid to use tape. Using tape doesn't make you not cool. It makes you smart because you're not having to create more work for yourself, taking all this Bondo out of these jams that are already straight. It's not broke, so don't fix it. Wiping a panel this big, you've got to do it in sections just so you can concentrate on over here instead of all of this all at once. So we're going to move into, when you look across the top of it, it just looks like it just came that way. We round all of our edges off. Paint won't stick to a hard, sharp edge. So we come in there and make sure we keep those round. We got pretty much the majority of the bed cover bodywork, so we're gonna use this little gap checker here. This is gonna tell us how big the gap is and make sure that it's straight all the way down. We've got a 4 all the way down. So this tells us that the bed cover is evenly gapped all the way down the bedside. This beats eyeball, and this takes all the guessing game out of it. Spend you a couple bucks, get you one of these to make sure that your gaps are perfect. So now what we're gonna do is get it off of the truck, do a little bit of final sand in there, pick it apart, make sure we didn't miss nothing, and get this thing in primer.
Because this frame on the International dump truck is so long, we can't even close the bay door. It just sticks out. So for now, Little One's going to relocate the axle and make a rough cut to the frame. We'll finalize the length of the frame, then we'll cap it.
Because we got to move the rear axle forward, we got to take apart the whole leaf springs, back half of the drive shaft, all these hydraulic hoses, wiring. Once it's all done, we'll be able to close the door and get our shoulder wheel. We're going to slide the whole assembly together. Much better. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You got a big truck, short wheelbase. That's cool as hell. Yo!
What's happening, man? You doing good?
Man, I'm doing good. How's things down there?
Couldn't be better.
Hey, it's color time.
You got it. Sean wants his C10 unibody to be painted white. A white truck is difficult to really stand out from a crowd. So I asked Zane to come up with something really special for this white and put a little something extra in the mix.
I'm gonna go to work.
Thank you.
Days like today, we're really excited to get to do something different. There's so many colors out there that it's hard to stand out and be different. It's something else, man. It's gonna blow them away.
This is Lumicoat. What it does is it just crushed mirrors. It reflects the light in low light conditions, so you can see it more clearly.
So when the light hits this at nighttime, it's just gonna glow like the emergency stickers and stuff.
Like a street light. In the daylight, they'll knock your eyes out.
At nighttime, this will knock your eyes out.
It will.
This is pretty nasty, you know what I mean?
It's pretty cool.
I'm freaking pumped, man. Let's get this thing painted. Yeah, I've been doing this a long time, so it's like fun to be impressed by something. Nothing wows us anymore. It's usually the same stuff, different day. I cannot wait to see this.
It's been a little over a month since Zane started working on the C10. And today's the day he's bringing it back. And I get to see this thing in person.
What it do?
What's happening? I really appreciate you taking this on, man.
I love my away games at your place, but we got to do this one at home, and I think we knocked it out of the park.
Man, I'm ready to check this thing out.
Let's open it up.
Man. Woo. Turn right a little bit. Turn left a little bit. There you go.
What you think about it?
Man, this thing looks better than good. Looks like it's been dipped.
This is the brightest white that we could have possibly put on it with little crushed mirror flakes in it. This thing just dances in the sunlight.
Sean can't not like this thing.
And if Sean don't like it, call me. I'll be the first one to buy it.
All right. I know you're ready to get back.
I'm out of here.
We got a lot to do to it now, too. It's been a few years since we built the custom chassis and suspension for this truck. We're going to pull it all apart and powder coat it a dark red to contrast this white. Everything still looks good. A couple little things we'll change up and freshen up and make it just like brand new, but this thing's gonna start coming together here real soon. the powder coat, he's working on some custom kick panels.
You know, there's a lot of different ways we can go with these kick panels, but the main thing is that we make sure the design kind of flows with the rest of the truck. We have the carpet that's going to be on the bottom of our doors, so we want to continue that into here, and then make a cool little shape that's going to kind of match the rest of the vehicle that's going to hold our speakers. Now we rough cut that, set up the router, and go to that. Like a puzzle, man. So we kind of set it up. We got our base, we got our baffle for our speakers, and we got our trim ring that goes up here. The speaker's actually going to mount from the rear in there just like that. So we can build this whole thing on the table. We'll fill in this back area right around. Just slightly score this on the back side, allow it to bend without. All right, we got it all wrapped around with our panel board here. Now all we got to do is get it all mudded up, wrap it, and we're done with these kicks.
Since I'm actually going to take this box and mold it in and make it part of the truck, what we're going to do is take this, make it solid one piece, get this screwed into place, and then we'll come in with some panel board and start molding this thing in. We're going to actually wrap the whole back of the truck with the box and all at one time, so there's no seam, just kind of follow along with the idea of the unibody. So now we'll just start making pieces to get the sides filled in. So what I'll do is I'll use some chipboard. There'll be no separation from the body to the box all the way around to the back of this truck, so that'll look pretty cool. When I look at a space that I'm trying to design out and figure out what's going on with it, just kind of keep in mind body lines, the style cues, and things like that from the vehicle, and just kind of incorporate that into what you're building, and just let it kind of flow through and just create something, because you're actually making something that no one else is making. No one else will make it. It's one of a kind. You're just putting your own spin and your own thoughts of these things, so there's really no wrong way to go about it as long as you get to the final product that you're after.
The frame and suspension are back from powder coat on the C10 unibody. Man, this thing looks even better than I thought it would. You know, with the all-white truck, it's really, really important to pick an accent color that's really going to stand out. We definitely achieved that. I mean, this is way above par. I mean, this red is actually a couple of colors in one. It's got a chrome base over a transparent red, and it really, really, really looks good.
We hand-built this frame years ago. Now, to get all the components on the chassis and watch it go up and down with the motor on it, something I didn't think I was going to see. This was just a stock piece of 2x3, 2x4. Everything on this thing was just pie cut and welded together, and it just gives you a great pride knowing that it's rolling down the road 80, 90 miles an hour, carrying somebody's family next to you, and it's just rolled real good. Now we have the mock-up wheels on. We have a complete rolling chassis.
What do you think, buddy? Does it look good?
After so many years of waiting, I can't tell you how satisfying it is to see this truck finally come together. Mount glass, custom wheels and tires, and finally it's time to give this thing a new home.
I was 22 when I first started welding. I had a friend call me and he said, "Hey man, you want to come weld?" And from there I began MIG welding carbon steel, then moved up from there to MIG welding aluminum, then from MIG welding aluminum to TIG welding aluminum, just worked my way up. I grew up here in Houston, just right down here from the shop, about 5 minutes away. As a kid growing up, hearing about Bill, I always heard he was the best man at bagging trucks. I mean, I used to come with my friends, check out the shop, or come out by all the time. Then years passed, and never in my life did I think I would ever be here working for Bill. One of my favorite builds that were done here at the shop was Marco's red Z01 Camaro, because it was aluminum chassis, and man, I got to take the whole thing out. It took me hours, but it was done right. When I see like a build that I worked on the road, I always tell my wife, "Hey, look, I welded that part on it, I welded this on it, I welded the gas tank on it. It never gets old, man. I love it. I just love welding.
Man, that place always hits the spot, man. I'm so full, I don't even want to go back to work. I don't know what you're about to do.
I'll get back there eventually.
You know, it's always good to finish a project up, especially when one's been lingering around the shop for so long. And what really tops it off is finishing the build for a good friend of yours.
You got to get over here and work on some of this stuff you got sitting around the parking lot.
Right? We got to get this parking lot cleared out. That's always a struggle.
For 30 years, I've been going over here. The parking lot ain't never been cleared out.
Right? I got some work I want you to check out real quick. I want your opinion on something.
You want me to give you my opinion?
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's see what you got. Oh.
I want you to check this out.
All right. Well, let me see what you got. That's mine? Oh, wow.
Been a minute, huh?
Been a while. Man, this is awesome.
You know, last time you seen this truck, it was just basically a rolling chassis and a body on it.
Yeah.
It's 100% now.
Well, unibody, that was the whole reason I liked the truck. I knew that this is what it would turn out like.
With the cab and bed welded together, that really makes this truck look super smooth. It just adds to the whole custom look of this thing. You know, people just gonna look at it and go, man, that's a cool looking truck. It took to make that.
Oh yeah, they'll know. And it's something different that you just don't see out there.
You know, from where it was to what it is now, man, it's night and day. From the roll pan, you know, to the 68 front end, the nice smooth hood, you know, no wipers, no cowl vents. That's all been shaved. To the front glass, all flush, man. You know, Carmen hooked us up with the A&N hot rod glass, makes us a nice windshield, nice back glass with no rubber. So it makes this whole thing look modern. And then down to the bed cover me and Rudy built for you. You know, it's just something you don't see on these trucks, and it just finishes the whole thing off and just makes the unibody part look super smooth.
I mean, the way this thing sits on the ground, I mean, that's phenomenal.
You know, that just doesn't happen with the air suspension. It has to be a chassis specially made, you know, to make a vehicle go this low. You know, added these brand new wheels and tires, 24x8s in the front, 24x14s in the rear, with huge brakes on this thing.
Man, the chrome polished 24-inch wheels, the way it sets off the truck, man, it all goes together so good.
And white, you know, white is super hard to pull off. My boy Zane stepped in. He told me if I ever need anything, give him a call. That's exactly what I did. And you see, Zane got down on it.
Did an awesome job.
Right? It's not only just white, but it's got metallic and a pearl in this, so it really, really stands out.
You can actually see the metallic in the light. See the shine on it.
Check this out.
Oh, yeah. That's nice.
Right?
I like that.
Once we got it back from Zane, blew everything apart and just started by powder coating all the suspension, all the frame, all the components to go with that. It's a chrome powder coat with transparent red over it, so it really gives it that anodized look. Yeah. And when the sun hits it, man, it just kind of blinds you.
This thing's definitely a show truck now.
And it's a late model 5.3 LT, so it's got plenty of power in here too. Man, let's check out the interior on this thing.
That's nice.
Right?
Man, so clean.
You know, John and Heath really got down on this from top to bottom, from the new headliner to the carpet, you know, the custom-made door panels. There's subs in the back, you know, the kick panels. This thing gets down to, you know, the seats, the console, the all-metal 56 Chevy dash. It's got the Dakota digital gauges. So when you start this thing, everything lights up. It looks like a brand new late model car.
It don't even look like a dash. It looks like a spaceship. Well, the guys did an awesome job. They did great.
You know, Sean, just another example of my team coming together, creating something.
The first vehicle you built for me, and it won't be the last. Man, thank you.
After years of just being passed around, moved from bay to bay to bay, stuff piled on it, finally unpiling everything off the top, getting back to work and finally finishing this thing up, it really feels good. Need your help again, buddy? We need some hangers for the International over there, so I need something, you know, pretty beefy. One of the things we're learning on this 1996 International is how many extra steps it takes to even start working on a truck this size. This would be the whole mounting point for the whole rear suspension. Once this is made, we get it bolted on, everything will come off of that.
all boxed in, all the way around.
5/16 plate. This is plenty of strong. This heavy of a truck, you know, it gets stuck in the mud, a little bit of wheel hop. These things aren't going to go anywhere. See if this bolts up. Man, them things look good. That is exactly what we need to hold all this weight. You know, this is what makes me excited. Taking on the unknown and flexing our creative muscles. To do something.
A little bit of powder coat on these things would be right.
You know, we got the hangers done. Let's get the tabs on the rear end, and then we can start building a 4-link. We'll build bag mounts, shock mounts. Then we're
gonna be built like a tank.
We heard on the street they was up to something. We had to come check it out. This is gonna be crazy, man. I can't wait to see this, man.
Customizing a delivery van definitely has some challenges, but this is actually going to change Dave's life.
They told me it can't be done.
You're in the right spot.
Beautiful.
Ryan, bring it on in.
Oh my God, dude.
I'm Bill Carlton. I built my first truck when I was 16. And ever since, me and my guys have been out here creating with our hands. Building the biggest, lowest, baddest custom trucks and cars in the game. People don't come here for what they need. They come here for what they want. This is Texas Metal.
When I first seen her, I thought it would have been better off if I just would have turned that thing away. But, you know, that's not what Extensive is about. We like the challenge. We like, you know, when somebody comes in and says you can't do that, that's more reason to do it. You know, I don't know if it's where I'm from or what, but there's something inside me that just doesn't like to be told, that's too hard. This is too much work. Thinking too big. You know, when I hear stuff like that, that's just when it's time to get to work. Going through and putting this car together, that's when you really start to get the ideas of making this thing different from all the other Cadillacs around. You know, if you're only going to do the easy jobs, there's never a challenge. What's the point? We're in the dream-making business. So that's what we're about to do on Earl's right now.
Pretty cool working on this Cadillac, man. I've been around Cadillacs pretty much my whole life, you know. Mostly in my scene, in the lowrider scene.
Man, a Cadillac's one of them cars that's always going to stand the test of time. It's got the name. It's made for the king.
You know, a famous car for a famous NFL player, Earl Campbell, you know.
Y'all talking about the Cadillac?
Oh, yes.
Man, you remember when this thing came in? I was getting a little nervous when it started rolling in and rolling in and rolling in and rolling in, right? You know, parts on a wrecker, trailer, in the car for Earl Campbell. You can't not get him hooked up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now we just need to finish it.
You know, we've already got the new frame underneath this thing. The body's all mounted to the frame with the custom air suspension. The rust is all repaired. This thing's really starting to look like something now. I'm getting excited. Time to put that new engine in, a brand new LSX for this thing. So he's got plenty of power.
Can't believe we're putting LSX in it. Mm-hmm. That's going to be awesome.
You know, in the engine compartment too, I want to redo the firewall. Give him a nice bead rolled firewall, something that looks totally different, right? And not only new firewall, I want new sheet metal, nice fender wells that roll down and kind of mold to the firewall. And when Earl sees this thing, I really want him to go, man, this is cool. John, I know you worked on a lot of Cadillacs, buddy. You got room for one more, huh?
One more.
All right. I'm going to go get this engine. Let's get going. All right.
I never drove a Cadillac with air suspension, but I drove a Cadillac with hydraulics. It was beautiful. I'd love to take this thing out for a ride.
You know, Earl Campbell's a Hall of Famer, but before that, he was just a kid from Texas. He used his God-given talents to do things that nobody special as he is. Every piece of metal work we're going to do on this Caddy is going to have design details in places most folks will never even see.
We're going to take the time to make this engine bay look really good, just as good as the outside of the car. So what we're going to do is make a really nice tub and make it look like all one piece. That way it kind of fills in this engine bay, but not so much where you're going to hide the motor. We want the motor with as much visibility as possible. That's the heart of the car. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna make this filler panel here, but I'm gonna make it look cool. It's just not gonna be no flat piece that's gonna come down from the top to the bottom. I'm gonna make it roll out and then roll back down. Give it a little style, you know? Make it look cool, just like the car is. Now we got this nice pretty piece tacked in place. I can continue rolling this on another panel to come all the way down. Now the easiest way to hold this in place without tacking it is to use this little thing called a Kiko. This is similar to a removable rivet, I guess you would call it. I don't want to tack it in place yet because I might have to remove it when I mess with the firewall. So all those little Kikos hold that in place, and these flat bars make it flush with the other pieces of the firewall. We can get these out of the way since they're just Klikoed in. Cool thing about working on such a large car and this big engine bay, it's gonna be a lot of fun to fill this space with something cool and custom.
I'm not sure if you've seen old footage of Earl Campbell running with a football, but man, he was fast, powerful, and just mean. He didn't run from a hit, he just dished them out. So we want an engine that runs just as powerful as old Earl did back in the day. Well, almost as much. What's up, Brian?
Hey, Bill, how you doing?
Man, good.
All right. You here to pick up that new engine?
You know it.
And this is that one for that 49 Caddy, right?
Man, you know we need a lot of power in that thing. Big, heavy Cadillac like that.
You want to tote Earl Campbell around in?
Yep.
Well, here comes your engine right here.
Man, let's check this thing out. Man, this is exactly what we need for old Earl. Small package and a big punch. What's the horsepower on this?
627 and 586 foot-pounds of torque.
Man.
Well, I know you're going to be happy with it, and I hope Earl Campbell will be happy with.
Start building around it. This LSX is just a power plant to have, much like the old 454s that were in all the hot rods back in the day. The LSX is much lighter, a lot smaller, and more efficient than the original, but with a ton of power. This engine is definitely the one to put in a build like this. Engine's in before lunch! Looks pretty dang good.
There's one spoiled Cadillac, huh?
Right? You know, most of the time the engine compartments are so crammed you don't really get to see everything in it. Man, this thing is got a V12 in this thing. You know, on the firewall too, man. We have so much room, we don't even have to notch it for the transmission tunnel. And I love this design you have here. And how about we incorporate this into the firewall itself so it come down and have that little that 3D look too. You know, John and I are old school fabricators. So with the metal work on this car, we're definitely not using a computer. We take what's in our heads and make it with our hands. Man, I know this is becoming one of your favorites. Got to.
Yeah, sure is, Con.
Me too. That's cool.
Yeah.
You know, that gives us room for ideas.
We kind of got an idea of what we want to do on this firewall to make it match these inner fenders. Thinking of it is cool, but doing it is a whole different ballgame. So it's going to take me a little time to figure out all these angles. Got to do it right the first time. If not, we got to start all over from the beginning. So measure it, calculate before I start bending. Bends. This is the radius that we got on the inner fender. This is the piece that's going to go across the bottom of the firewall. And I just want to try to get them to match. We want to keep that same radius throughout the whole engine bay. It's kind of hard because there's like a million things going on in here at once. Playing a little game of small cuts. Cutting a little bit at a time till it fits in place right. Because if you cut too much, then you got a big hole you got to fill. And it'll fit right in there just the way we want. Now that the lower road part of the firewall is in, I'm just going to make the top part of the firewall. I'm going to trace the shape of the cowl onto the panel, cut it out, slap it back on there, and then we're going to design what we're going to feed roll on here. We'll be able to get rolling.
love that rolled edge, how it goes around. That really helps out. How about something with a V pattern here in the core support? So that just makes sense to carry that on through. The letter V has been a design element on caddies as long as I can remember. So on Earl Campbell's 49 Cadillac, we're putting subtle V touches everywhere, including the firewall. I think it'll play in all together with the whole design of the engine compartment. I think something like that. You know, of course, I want to lay it out a little better, a little more square, but...
Oh, you want it straight?
Yeah.
I removed the panel from the firewall, and all I'm doing is straightening out all the lines that we rough sketched in here, make everything even all the way around. I'm gonna draw me out some straight lines that I'm gonna follow with the rolls on the bead roller. Little tip, take your time, roll it slow so you can follow your line straight. You roll it too fast and you get a little wiggly, you'll see it in your roll. So you gotta have some patience. If not, we gotta start all over. I think that looks pretty damn good. And we're ready to tack this thing in place. An original Cadillac symbol, meaning V8, fits the car really well, especially having this nice LSX 454 in the engine compartment. Make it feel at home.
Not every build that comes through here is going to be for someone as famous as Earl. No matter what the build, we always put in the same passion and talent. Because to that person, their build, big or small, is the most important thing in the world to them. You know, when a white Sprinter van pulls up to the shop, you automatically think you're getting a package. But in this case, it's going to be a very important build. You know, we're super busy right now. But when Dave and his family called me out of the blue, I told them to come on over, I'll take a look. How you doing?
Doing well. How about yourself? Doing good.
What's happening?
Thank you for this, Bill.
What y'all got going on today?
Well, last September, I bought me a 2017 Mercedes Sprinter, and it is very, very difficult for me to get in. I come from a motocross background, started when I was 4 years old, and at the age of 31, I was out at Three Palms, and came up short. Actually, I didn't come up short, I just went over the bars, and that was the end of that.
So that's what put you in the chair?
That's what put me in the chair. The end goal is from a seat.
And what you need is it down on the ground so you can get in and drive this thing.
Absolutely. So the way the van sits right now and as high as it is, it's too difficult for my family to be putting me in and out. And so it's time. It's been 16 years and it's time for me to drive myself. I've searched around quite a bit, took it to several different shops, was asking about putting it on bags, and they told me it can't be done. They just said they don't do it. When I asked to drop it, and here I am.
We were told no so many times. And Dave Jr. said, hey, Dad, I heard about this guy. I think he can do it. You're in the right spot.
I hear you.
Like to hear. I have friends that race. I love off-roading too. You know, of course, when you hear a story like this, you just want to get in and help. You know, anything we can do to make his life better, we're definitely going to do it. I see these Mercedes Sprinter vans everywhere. Because even though it doesn't look super cool, this 2017 has a super efficient diesel and it has tons of space to put whatever you want in it. Now let's check this thing out.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely see the height here. You'd have to have a 20-foot ramp to get up in this thing easily.
Yeah.
You need this thing down the ground so you can have a ramp go up in it.
A ramp would be nice. A ramp would be really nice.
When you're in it, you need that chair out of the way so you can pull up into
what
it.
I would like is for the front seat to swivel. You know, I don't want to drive from a power chair. Plus, I don't like it. It seems like it's just super dangerous to me.
We definitely got you on that.
That sounds great.
So you have a motocross history. You like cool stuff.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
We got to get rid of this delivery van look, man.
Yeah, it looks pretty much like a cargo van.
So what do you think about wrapping this thing, putting some cool wheels and tires on it, dropping it? This thing is going to look cool.
I just want to be part of the family, bud.
That's it.
Hey, if you can put one truck that high up in the air, I got faith that you can put one on the ground.
Oh, we're going to do it.
Dude, you're going to make me pass out, man. I have full confidence that these guys have it, and, I mean, I'm just ready. I'm just excited. I can't wait.
All right, man, let's go make it happen.
Let's do it.
customize a lot of vehicles at the shop, but you know, a Sprinter van is definitely lower on the list of sought-after vehicles. You know, customize some challenges. We got our work cut out for us for that, of not only serving a purpose to help Dave in his life to make it easier, but he wants something cool also. We do builds all the time at Extensive. We get them in, out every day. You know, this project right here is a little more special. I mean, this is actually gonna change Dave's life.
Why do you have a delivery van?
No, man, we're not fixing a delivery van. Customer's name's Dave. You know, he had a motocross accident, so he's in the wheelchair. So what we're going to try to do is give him that freedom, independence back to do what he needs to do. But it needs to look cool, too.
Yeah, we can take care of that. That's our business.
That's it, man. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to put some air suspension on this thing to drop this thing down to the ground. So we're going to pull out the leaf springs in the rear, you know, clean all the axle off and build the 2 links for the rear. Get it super low.
No doubt.
Same with the front. Put in all the new compressors, tanks, the whole 9.
So we're trying to give him something else back that's a lot of fun that he can do on his own and have a good time.
Exactly. Not only to the van. So we're going to install a wheelchair ramp that shoots out the side of this thing. Dave can ride right in himself and do his thing. Once we figure out the ramp situation, the next thing we're going to tackle the custom driver's seat. So he can put himself in the chair, spin himself right around, go on about his day, and have that independence back.
Super convenient. So you going to stick with the smuggler look, the all white, or are we doing something cooler?
No delivery van. No, we're going to definitely, you know, it's got the motocross background. He needs to have that cool feeling of riding around also. So we're going to start out wrapping this thing, and then we're going to finish it off with some really cool wheels.
Awesome. It's a little bit out of the ordinary, but it's going to be pretty cool, man.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
Well, I'm ready to get started on this thing. Let's get it on the 2 posts. Knock this thing out, man.
Sounds good, man. You know, lowering this van to the ground is going to look awesome. So we're going to change up the rear suspension on this van. We're going to change it over to a 2-link. So I'm going to take these leaf springs out, the shocks. But I'm going to start stripping this stuff off and get to business. All right, now I got all that taken apart. It's time to get these leaf springs out. We're gonna need as much space as, now that I have everything out of my way, I'm gonna take this little 1/2 inch out, and that's a 1/2 inch lower that we're gonna be.
This van has a steel unibody, which means the frame is built into the body. Luckily, we have just enough room to fit the air suspension, so we don't have to cut notches, which is cool. It saves us a lot of work. We got the big springs out of the way. That's going to let this thing sit way low to the ground. You know, we're not going to cut the floor, not going to do a C-notch, so we're just going to set the axle right on the unibody itself. So it's going to be super low and have perfect angle for that ramp.
Is that a 22 going on here? 24.
He said 22.
It's really getting a 24 for real. Oh, man, freaking huge.
It's not every day we get to work on a 2017 Sprinter, but also it's not every day we get to change someone's life. Putting this van on air suspension is going to get Dave that much closer to driving.
Since the sheet metal on these rear tubs is so thin, it's not as solid as we like. So we're going to add some structure into this thing. We're going to brace the frame, brace the bottom of the floor, and we're also going to put a little plate here. We can through bolt it. Everything's working with each other here. Nothing's working against each other. It's like with as much weight as it's going to be carrying and the load and the sway and everything, it needs to be structurally sound. I came at the perfect time.
Oh, yeah, you did.
Thank you, buddy.
There you go. You can go ahead and clean them up.
It's hot.
Watch out.
What I'm doing is trying to get this 90-degree angle right on the money. And then the next one, you just hammer down on the pedal. That does the work for you. Perfect. Back to the van. So right on the money is exactly what we wanted. Now we can punch some holes in this. Connect the dots, and now we're one step closer to having the rear suspension built. Now that we got our plates made, you can see everything kind of coming together. And we can through bolt it to the inside of the cab, put a backing plate on the other side, and you get a little bit more structure out of it that way. Over the years, we've been known for, making kits for just about any application, any car, any truck, anything like that. But when we have builds like this or just one-off builds, we typically build, we could easily go pull something off the shelf and throw it on here and just make it work. But later on down the line, you might run into a problem. So I like to just literally make every part and piece for every single vehicle that I build. That way I know 100% that it's perfect for what we're building it for. Beautiful. Love it. And that's lunch.
And yoga has started.
Now that John's finished fabricating the engine bay on Earl's 49 Cadillac, he's going to move into the cab.
So what we're going to do is continue to firewall back over the transmission. So I'm making a trans tunnel. I'm going to make a template of how I want this end of it shaped. I never took art class, but instead of doing schoolwork, I was drawing in all my notebooks. Now we can get the end of that tunnel shape and make it flow into the floorboards. Pretty close. Now we got a whole lot of cutting to do. When you're hand building something, you're building it in place and, oh, that'll work. Everything's made to fit. First piece in, I got about 2 more to go. I know Earl's not going to mind what his trans tunnel looks like while he's driving this car down the road, but this thing is going to be built like a tank, and I'm sure he'll love it as much as I do.
Our next step of getting the floor sheet metal put in is mocking the rear end up. This thing's got 600 plus horsepower, almost just as much torque. So we need a rear end that's really going to stand up to all that. So we got a fabricated 9-inch. Then we can build our drive shaft tunnel around the mocked up drive shaft. And then we'll start building the floor around that.
Now it's time to cut our center section out of our floor. Let's see if we can do it a straight line. Now we can put our drive shaft tunnel in. Now we got the tunnel in. Pinion angle was set. What I'm going to do is bottom out that axle so we can put our new inner tubs in.
I love adding style in a place you least expect it. That's what a full build is. John's finishing up the metalwork with as many design elements as possible in the rear of the 49 Caddy.
When taking apart these old cars, sometimes you gotta use your head, not only to do it right, but to hold the parts. What I did here is I got me a piece of pipe that'll fit in this axle hub, and I cut me out a piece of flat bar about the height of the tire. What I'm gonna do is use this, make me a perfect circle of where I need to cut to put our new tub in here. Now with this all opened up, move on to the other side and get that cut out. Since we had our rear end bottomed out, we know what our very top needs to be. Now we need to figure out how wide it needs to be front to back. And now we could do that same thing we just did at that height, and we will get a perfect arc by the 18-inch radius. This is all coming together real nicely. We got our fenders put back on, got them all welded out. Now we can cap the inner tubs and get our notch cover built. A custom car. This could have been a flat panel, and what would we have done? Undercoated the car or something, bedlined it. But now that we have this nice little design, it could be painted glossy and it would look good. It's just a little added touch to doing something that's worthwhile. one challenge we got is the notch has 2 crossbars from frame rail to frame rail that bow like this. So what I'm gonna do is make a template to that contour and get that template transferred onto a piece of sheet metal. I'm gonna draw me some designs and bead roll it to match what we got on the firewall. See how it looks. Would you look at that? Man, that looks real good.
For Dave, these airbags are going to lower this van, and it's totally going to help out for this ramp we're going to install. He'll be able to drive for the first time in 16 years. It's a total game changer. Wrapping it up, huh?
Yeah, you came in at the perfect time.
Always come at the perfect time. It looks real good. Hey, all the suspension's done, huh? The line's done, electrical's done.
Yeah, dude, I got everything mounted, tucked up in here real nice and together, not all over the place. Usually we jinx ourselves saying, it's going to happen.
We're going to have one easy every once in a while, right?
They can't all be difficult all the time, huh?
No, they can. Well, cool. Let's get the wheels on and get this thing on the ground, man. Let's see what it looks like. Cool. And then we'll start working on the inside.
Yeah, buddy. All right.
All right, Ryan, let's drop this thing down.
No more delivery van, right?
Nah. It's right
it looks
there
cool
on the
too.
mud flaps, man.
Right?
It's sick. Until we get them wheels on there, it's gonna look good, man.
Yeah. All right, cool. Let's get this thing aired up. Let's get it on a drive-on lift so we can start building the ramp on this thing.
Sounds good, man.
Needs to be installed flush with the floor. So Ryan's got to make an opening for it.
All right, so I used the framing square just to find out where my door was. We know here is our door. We're not going any further past this point. Here's the center of the actual opening of the door and everything we got. So we have this much room to work with. Our deck is 41 1/8. So within our parameters, we have a lot of room to work with, which is really good. Just triple check your measurements, because we're about to cut the entire floor of this thing out. All right, now that I have all my lines done, I'm gonna go ahead and just cut this whole section out where our ramp is gonna go. All right, so you can see from the inside here where our lines are, where they're coming down. We're already planning on reboxing this whole entire frame into the unibody, and we're gonna plate the side of it and then cap the top off once we're done and have everything bolted in where we need it. So just to get this whole center out of the way, cut this whole top section out, and then we have a wide open area we can work with, full measurements, and do what we gotta do. It's loose? Yeah, it's loose. It's not heavy. Got it. Yeah, I got it. So now I got this big hole in the middle of this floor. I want to get the ramp in here, and I want to see exactly what we're looking like. Hey, be careful on the floor right there. See if you can hop down into the floor, onto the ground. This ramp isn't meant for this van. It's meant for like a tour bus. So what we're doing is trying to make this work for what we got, This is what we do. We're fabricators. If we can see it, we can make it happen. So what we're doing is, making it happen. And that's the job. That's what we do. I'm gonna make a channel that will go over the frame rail to cap our frame rail where we cut it in half and stitch all the way down the frame rail and work our way. We're gonna have to brace all this up, make a mount for this thing to actually sit on, and put some structure back into this van. Now we got the main structure tacked into place. We got our frame rails boxed in, and we got the actual track that our ramp is bolted to. So really all that's left to do now is weld this up, patch some holes up, and we'll be ready to wire it up and test this thing out.
We're going to make as many parts as we can for Earl's 49 Caddy right here in the shop. However, there's a few parts we need. So when it came to the radiator, we had to have one specifically built for this job. In the shape of a V, of course.
Front of the car is exactly what this thing needed. Get all this cut out and just continue to make the little V shape here.
Yeah, build the support around the radiator.
Man, I've never seen a V radiator before.
Yeah, me neither. That is nice. The bottom part of the core support, which comes out all the way to the front bumper, we're gonna make that all one piece, and it gets welded to the fenders. This is gonna be one complete unit now with everything welded together. We're ready to get our radiator mocked up. We got these side pieces tacked in, which is gonna isolate where you can only view the radiator. Got that nice radiator in there. The edges need to look good too. We're gonna start forming this top part of here, so it's all one piece and structurally strong, and it looks damn cool. They got some really nice fitment right there. Now what I'm gonna do is get that excess off. Now I got these pieces fitted in here pretty nice. Then we're gonna run us a couple bead rolls on these panels, kind of liven it up a little bit so it's not just so flat. It looks pretty good. So what I did here was I started off with maximum pressure here, and once I got to this line I drawn, which is 10 inches away from the edge, I started slowly fade out look instead of just a hard stop. Man, them lines match up perfectly. Little flavor to the front end here. Man, now we got this whole front end pretty much done. Got the grill fit in here perfect. This thing is looking really, really good.
Today's a milestone in the 49 Cadillac. After about 3 months of metal work, it's finally rolling over to the body shop.
From where it started to where it is now is a huge difference, and it's a good feeling seeing it come from the fab shop, finally going to the body shop, then start the body and paint.
We got the ramp working on Dave's 2017 Sprinter van, but I definitely can't let it leave the shop in the delivery van white. So John and Jose wrapped the back of the van glossy black to make it look like it has a rear window, and they're wrapping the rest in a brushed black.
So the next step now is putting the razor wire on. As you can see, there's a tiny wire inside this tape. This allows me to get straight cuts whenever I put another overlapping vinyl on top. And once I'm never put a blade on it, I won't be able to scratch it or damage my gloss black window.
A lot of people come to us to go get color changes. They're bored of their existing paint job and they want something new. Or certain models like Ferraris or Lamborghinis, they only come a certain color selection. Well, some clients, they want to be unique, so they do whatever it takes. They come to us, we get it done, and they're happy. And when they get tired of it, we remove it. The resale value doesn't get affected. The original paint is protected underneath, brand new.
Now with the wire all pulled out, all we gotta do is pull out the green tape. You can see the straight, perfect line it leaves behind. Perfect.
Well, let's go ahead and start getting these side panels put in.
Always love giving a vehicle back to its owner. But this 2017 Sprinter van is just a little something extra because Dave's just going to be that much closer to driving. So we're installing a swivel seat for easier access, new 24-inch wheels, and some red accents to match those wheels.
I haven't sat in the driver's seat in 16 years, man. And the day's here, so I'm pumped.
You know, a lot of people have their own style, their own customization, but here, you know, the customization just keeps evolving. There's not blueprints, there's not schematics to do what we do. Everything we customize here is specifically to that build. Two of the same cars could come in here, but when they both leave, they'll be totally different and totally cool. You know, that's why I like coming to work. That's why I love doing what I do, just to get tested. I get bored any other way. I gotta have the challenge. I gotta have the creativity, you know, to get in and create something with my hands, to make something just cool. You know, bolting on the same parts day after day, you know, that's cool, but that's not the definition of custom to me. You know, building it all back up with as many parts as you can by hand, that's the definition of custom.
What's happening, dude?
How you doing? I mean, it's always because we're giving this 2017 Sprinter van back to Dave, and I can't wait to see his reaction. Man, I know it's been a while. I know you've been waiting patiently.
When you're in this position, bro, that's the first thing you learn. Patience.
You ready to check this thing out? I know you guys are ready.
Yeah.
Ryan, bring it on in.
Oh my God, dude. Oh man, this is beautiful, dude. You gotta be kidding me, man.
Fine looking.
You gotta be kidding me.
That's what I was waiting to see. That's
You gotta
cool.
be kidding me, man.
What you think, man?
Bro.
That is something else.
Whoa, I can't tell you how much I appreciate it, dude.
Oh man. It doesn't look like that delivery van anymore, does it?
Oh, no, sir. That's why I brought it to you, Bill. There is nothing you can't do. It's overwhelming, dude. Seriously, man.
Because at first it could not be done.
Oh man, we did it.
You did it. You absolutely did it.
You guys ready to check this thing out?
I'm ready to open that thing up and let me check that ramp out because I know we got a ramp inside the thing, dude. Oh, my God.
Check it out.
Oh, my God.
Man, buddy, that ain't just something you just bolt on either. We had to cut the whole floor of the van out, restructure everything, and then make everything mount back. So you have two sets of controls. One will control the airbags, front, up and down, back, up and down. And the center button right there operates the ramp.
Check it out.
Check it out,
Check it out, dude.
That's it, man. You think you can work with that?
Absolutely, dude. My power chair is going to have no problem going up in there. I'm just really stoked.
It was a first for us also, and hope you like it, man. It's pretty sick.
You know, once you're up in there, we have installed a swivel seat on the factory seat there, so
awesome.
And added some handles on there, so you can spin that thing around from the back and get up in it and do what you need to do, man. Go on about whatever you want to do, all on your own.
Dude, I'm speechless, man. Speechless.
You know, of course, we had to add some cool wheels and tires too. This had to be made specifically for this van. If we're going to have some made, we got to have some cool ones made too, right?
Oh, yes.
You know, after all that was done, we couldn't have the delivery van look. We had to have this thing wrapped. You know, John and Jose over at Pixelworks came in with a brushed black.
Beautiful.
And man, that just really sets it off.
I mean, I can't believe the job you've got. I'm surprised you named it in Copperfield, man, because it's magic, bro. It's magic.
I like to speak for all the guys at the shop. This is something special for us also. You know, not only a chance to do suspension on something that we don't normally do, a challenge of making the delivery van look cool, but to give you that independence back to really help you out in that aspect of your life. I mean, it's cool to be able to do for us also.
And that's what it's all about is independence, buddy. I'm stoked, man. Ready to get in this thing and go down the road. You guys don't get it, man. For someone like me, be behind the driver's seat again, or behind the steering wheel. It's overwhelming. I haven't been behind a wheel in 16 years, bro. 16 years, man. Oh, man, dude.
Man, you look good in there.
I feel good in here. I don't even know what to say, man, but thanks.
Man, I appreciate that.
Tim, what up with it, man?
What you doing out rolling around?
I'm good, man. You know, I'm just cruising.
How's the car treating you?
Man, I'm loving it, man. You already know I'm loving it. Hey, look, all that small talk. Real reason why we here.
We heard y'all was over here trying to outdo the Mac. That's the truth. Y'all trying to
Man,
shut
I
the
knew
Mac
Raymond
down.
didn't show up to say hi. What's up, Tim?
We heard on the street they was up to something. We been hearing a few words on the street that they've been working on something special over there. We had to come check it out. We had to come and check it out. I know Bill was up to something. They was too quiet, Ron. I know it too, man. Real deal, Bill. Hey, what's going on around here, Bill?
What up, man?
Man, what are you working on over here, man?
What you up to, Bill? That's it.
Look at that's a 40s Cadillac.
That's it.
Man.
49.
This is gonna be crazy, man. I can't wait to see this, man.
You already know who it's for, huh?
Yeah. Camel, man. You know, we heard word on the street, so we had to pull up and see what was going on. Let me hit the club in this one.
So was this bad as Slim? You know, this wasn't even a complete car when we got it. Man. It was just a body, a frame, crates of parts just crammed in.
Oh, you was gonna rebuild it anyway, man. So it don't matter. You just that's what you do.
This is Earl's first custom car, so I really want him to just be impressed. You know, all around the bottom of this thing, all the sheet metal's all been gone through and straight. Built a new chassis from bumper to bumper on the front.
That's gonna be mean, man. What kind of energy you got up in there?
An LSX.
Wow. What is he gonna do with all that power?
Man, whatever he wants, right?
Earl Camel's like stuff big, you know, he's running back. He's running over people, you know what I'm saying? That's what it is. All over the city in there, man. That's crazy. I sure don't like that, though. Man. Hey, man, you put the V in there for the Cadillac? Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. You see that, Slim?
I see that. Sneak that V on. You see what they did? One of the coolest things about this car is when you pop the hood, John fabricated all the panels inside the firewall.
He thought we didn't see that. Okay. You gotta watch it. You know what I'm talking about? I seen that V right there. They wasn't gonna even tell her. I like Earl a lot. Yeah. But I don't like Bill that might be trying to take us out. You know they gonna show him extra love because who he is. I sure don't like that, man. That's cold, boy. That's all right. What color you going, Bill? Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Black on black. Yes,
you had to have it.
Two black legs back to back on the freeway.
That's gonna be nice.
That's gonna be nice, man. You know Earl gonna let you drive it.
Yeah, I sure hope he good.
I can't wait.
That'll ease the pain a little bit. You know, the next step's the interior on this thing, and we really got some custom touches for him. Just really something special. You hear that, Slim?
I can't wait to see that part. They got secrets. Well, let me know if you don't like it. I might come back.
Yeah, we for sure set the bar on Slim's Cadillac. But stay tuned, because we got some stuff planned for Earl's that are gonna go way beyond that.
We'll keep out here to the street on y'all to see what's
crazy high. It's gonna command attention. A work truck bed on top of a big lip like this. Wait till you see all the speakers that's gonna go in that bed. This thing is gonna be loud. It's always cool to work on your own project. There's no limitations. It's on you. Come on out with it. This is gonna be the king around here.
I'm Bill Carlton. I built my first truck when I was 16. And ever since, me and my guys have been out here creating with our hands. Building the biggest, lowest, baddest custom trucks and cars in the game. People don't come here for what they need. They come here for what they want. This is Texas Metal.
You know, back in 2011, we took a Suburban, cut that thing in half, and made it a two-door Tahoe. You know, back when this was built, this was a shocker for the world. 8 years later, you can still take this thing to just a prime example of something I wanted myself to have a business card for Extensive and really set its mark in the custom world. You know, every year I try to top myself to really build something really cool over the top, and we're definitely not done doing that.
Ooh. Pulling out of retirement?
Got a guy won this thing, so we're gonna meet him at a local little car show up in Tyler, where I'm gonna hand over the keys, man.
Wait, like it's leaving?
It's leaving.
Oh, man.
It's still gonna continue to go to car shows. It'll just be kind of like a foster home for it.
Okay, cool.
Time to move on, right?
Yeah.
It's time for something new. You know, it's time for this to go. We're gonna load it up, take it to a local car show. This turbine's gonna start its new life with its new owner. I hate selling this thing, but it's gonna fund the new over-the-top project.
the shop, come see what's going on. See some cool cars. Today's kind of bittersweet though. Part of the family's leaving, but you know, it's always nice to get that little check also. Man,
All right.
you made it?
Yes, sir.
What do you think, you finally getting to see this thing in person?
I've been looking for this truck for 8 years.
Yeah?
It's amazing. This truck is super cool, man. Something like nobody else has. That's exactly what I want. One day, a friend of mine, he called me. He says, hey, they got it for sale. So I made the call. We pulled the trigger, and we're here.
What's your favorite thing about this?
I like the way you did it. When we shorten it, make it 2-door. That's the only one on the year. I gotta have it, bro.
It's really cool. Antonio's been following this car, you know, for 8.5 years, and he's finally seeing it in person.
Oh, man. That's what I'm talking about, man.
You know, it's the factory 5.3 in this thing, but it's just all cleaned up. It doesn't look like that factory engine anymore, right?
No, it don't look like it no more, man. You can see from every angle. You can see everything, something different.
If you like this, you're definitely going to like the interior.
I think it's crazy, man. You got speakers everywhere, man.
3 big 12s in the back. You see the big hole in the roof. That's out of a Cadillac SRX. You can't buy one that big. Cut that out of another roof and then graft it into this one.
I think it's my right size, man. Yeah.
You know, when Antonio's sat in this seat, I can tell he's been wanting to do that for a long time.
Man, look at that. Man,
it's got a ton of power back here, right?
Man, I would like to
put home and somebody that really appreciates this. Enjoy it, man. Need something, holler. Looking at this thing for the last time, we've done a good job on it. I can't thank all my guys enough for all the late nights and hard work, because as you can see in the car show here, it's still holding its weight. You know, I've gone to shows East Coast to West Coast, almost every state. You see a bunch of lower trucks, lifted trucks, people trying to creep up on us. You know, we can't be having that. That just makes me want to build just something over the top, just lifted super high. If you're going to build a lifted truck, you want something totally different that nobody's seen before. This is the truck to get. I've got a 2020 Chevrolet medium duty that is just going to be insane. The medium duty trucks are in between a 1-ton and an 18-wheeler, so just putting it way up in the air is definitely something you don't see ever. It's gonna command attention no matter where it goes. This is gonna be the king around here. Is the truck brand new? Yes. Are we gonna pull it in the shop and tear it totally apart and start over? Absolutely. Tire company's gotta love you.
What is this, test drive or what?
Well, yeah, test drove it. It's my new project. Oh, Lord. You always got to have the bigger, fatter, right? Just the natural progression. Taking a medium duty, putting our spin on it, our style to it, it's just going to put us over the top again.
I'm scared to see what you're going to come up with next after this one's that high. But I got you a bay open. Let's go ahead and pull it in there and we'll get it racked up.
So you got me a spot?
Got you a spot.
Let's do it. You know, always before starting a project like this, you always get a little anxious. Just, you can't really wait to get started working on this. I mean, it's still, you know, a passion for all of us. It's the anticipation of getting the thing done, getting it out of the road, and just having a good time with it. It doesn't get any better than that. Most of the time you start to create the canvas and then add to that also. So the finished product is just going to be something that's going to blow everybody away. You know, I love being able to prove myself, to prove my team to everybody. Building a lifted truck, that's fun for me. But building a super huge dually truck that's going to end up being, you know, over 12,000 pounds when we're done, super high off the ground, that's just something I got to have in my life. What you think about this, Jamie?
Man, that's brand new. I ain't seen one of these yet.
Right? Man, I I got some big plans for this. You know, first things first, we're gonna get this thing up on the lift, and then we're just gonna build a crazy drop down air suspension with the big shocks. You know, huge 4-link on this thing with the big 1-inch Heims, super thick DOM. I mean, this thing's gonna be bulletproof. And you know I gotta have some big wheels and tires on this thing. Definitely. I wanna keep that dually in the back too. Raising this thing up, we're not shooting for a specific amount of inches. I want this thing way off the ground. We're just gonna lift this thing till it looks right. When it looks right, we'll go a little bit higher. Because this thing's gonna be crazy high. You know, look at the steps on this. This definitely isn't gonna cut it. So we're gonna build some custom crawl up in this big old thing. And as far as the bed, you know, I wanna do like a utility style bed with the toolboxes on it.
A work truck bed on top of a big lift like this with the air suspension?
Yeah, you don't ever see anything like that.
I've never seen nothing like that.
Wait till you see all the speakers and all the stereo that's gonna go in that bed.
Oh, man.
You know we gotta have it loud. You know it's gotta be loud. They go by you like, man, what? Why? I want that feel of industrialism. Right. You know what I mean?
This front end's a little bit too shiny for you.
Man, we gotta get rid of all that. You know, spray it all black, get rid of the chrome, make this thing cool. We're gonna have to step it up in the interior too. Yeah. You know, leather inside, suede headliner. And this thing doesn't even come with carpet. Of course we're gonna put that in it too. We're gonna make the inside just plush as can be.
I'm excited, I can't wait.
If you can't wait, let's do it.
Let's do it. I'm ready.
This thing is almost 6 tons stock. Because this thing is so big, we're gonna take a few extra precautions. And Jamie's gonna weld some extensions directly to the lift so we can pick this thing up safely.
Oh, that's nice.
This truck was barely stocked for maybe a couple days, and it's already up on the lift. All right, so go ahead and separate the axles from the leaf springs. Go ahead and lift up the frame, then go ahead and pull the leaf springs.
We're gonna be taking this thing to car shows all over, but it's not just about the trophy. This thing is gonna be able to get to work too. So Rudy's gonna start burning the hangers and brackets with all 5/16 plate.
Being that this is typically just used for work and never lifted, we had to build some extra heavy-duty hangers to support the whole weight of this work truck. If these things aren't strong enough, then our whole 4-link system will just collapse and be worthless.
You know, the next step we're doing this huge lift, huge super heavy lift, is building the 4-link brackets on the rear end. Rudy cut some 5/16 plate. This allows the 4-link to mount from the truck to the rear end and everything pivot. I mean, this was where all the stopping, starting, pulling power is all transferred into these pivot points here. Especially as high as this thing's gonna be, all the weight is compounded. So this thing has to be really, really strong. This is a major point of the whole suspension. When you're lifting a big Silverado 5500 over a foot in the air, you know, the 4-link has to be not only super strong and support all the weight that's going to be way up in the air, you know, it's got to look cool too. You know, one of the things that makes this thing super strong is the 1-inch FK Heims are really, really strong. So we're going to use that in conjunction to some really thick DOM, and that's going to make it so we never have to worry about that whatsoever.
Alright, got my Heims bolted up, all exactly the same, so we're gonna go ahead and bolt this up to the truck and continue with our 4-link. Now we got our 4-link bolted up, these things look beefy. So we can go ahead and start setting up our diagonal link. A diagonal link in a wishbone is always gonna keep your rear end completely centered through all of its range of travel. This sucker right here is gonna make sure that the whole rear end is nice and straight as it travels up and down. I only wish I could say the same thing about my back right now.
This thing comes with power steering, but to save a little space, we're going to convert everything into all hydraulic steering.
So this big steering gearbox is going to have to go. We're going to get rid of this one and install a new hydraulic steering system. Alright, so you can see our old gearbox is a whole lot bigger than our new one. In this case, looks can be deceiving. This small little guy here is going to do just as much as our big one here. This right here is basically our servo. All it does is transfer all the hydraulic fluid down to our hydraulic pump, which is going to be placed on the axle somewhere. Went ahead and made a brand new mount for our hood strut. That way we don't lose the support for our hood. Alright, we got our servo bolted up, linked up to our steering shaft. Everything looks good. And then the fun part, figuring out where that goes.
What we're doing now is mounting the hydraulic cylinder to the axle. We got a rolled piece of pipe that we had laying around the shop, so we're going to make 3 separate pipes to hold the hydraulic cylinder for the steering to mount it right to the axle. I mean, we could use a straight piece of pipe, but it'd look way cooler to have a little style to it and use the rolled pipe and be super strong also. The cylinder where we want, we got the roll tubing connecting the axle to the mount. It looks good. It's super strong and stylish for sure.
Alright, now that we got our hydraulic cylinder mounted and welded up, we're going to go ahead and make 2 rods, one for each side, to connect from the cylinder to our spindle. That way when our cylinder starts pushing those rods out left and right, our truck will go left or right. So just to make sure that our new tie rod ends are exactly the same, we're going to go ahead and jig up the first one I just welded up. That way my second one will bolt up just exactly like the first one. Got our first new tie rod made. Go ahead and duplicate it and make another one. Tie rods are in, as you can see. As our cylinder pushes in and out, it's going to steer our truck left and right.
We're going to start building the air suspension, and straight pipe is never a good idea. We want something with a little style. So Max is about to get out and get to it of rolling a lot of pipe and tubing for my truck to build the bag mounts, shock mounts, and just make it look cool. We're going to do things a little different this time. Instead of putting the lower bag mounts in place and then building down to the axle, I think what we'll do is take the lower bag mount off, build it on the table.
Now we don't have to keep crawling under here and throwing my back out every time I get in here.
Right. I got that. We can just simulate the axle with a piece of pipe on the table and build our pipe all to that. So we're going to make all of our pieces fit in a little square here.
You got it?
I know you do.
Main thing here is just trying to make everything look symmetrical. It's kind of different not doing it on the truck, but our simulated axle, everything's going to fit right on there like if it was on the truck. It's going to save my back and my knees and lots of time. Alright, we got all these welded up. Now we go slap these on the truck.
Heck yeah, Rudy. That's going to work good. Let's get the other side on, and then we'll put our straight edge across here and clamp it. And that'll, instead of trying to spend the time to level everything, you know it's 100% perfect. Weld that sucker out, and then we'll move to the uppers.
Hey, that's a great idea.
Oh, thank you, buddy.
That is what we like to call rap. Man, these are some big old shocks. These shocks are going to be able to hold up all the hard work this truck's going to go through.
We got both sides punched. Got our shock mount in the right spot. I'm just going to drill it. Drill that side. Everything's going to be 100% true, so the truck goes perfectly level when you're going down the road. big old shock looks perfect proportion to this big old truck, right?
Doesn't even look that big when it's on the truck.
Right? That's it, man. This is the last little bit of the suspension. This thing's ready to get blown apart and get coated.
Shoot, well, let's do it.
You know, it's always good to be in this part of the process, you know, having all the fabrication done, all the figuring out is done. You know, all the mental anguish is over. Every part of the process from now on is just improvements. You know, it's about to be the payoff for all the hard work. For the Chevy Silverado 5500. This thing is cool, but this is just a starting platform for what I'm thinking. You know, it's always cool to be able to work on your own project. There's no limitations. There's nobody telling you, you know, what to do, what they want. There's no restrictions whatsoever. Whatever you can think of, whatever you can dream of, it's on you.
Yeah, but this much more. Just forward.
That's what the shop's all about, is building cool cars, and especially one that stands out from all the rest of the builds, all the rest of the cars around. You want to make something that just has your personality built in with it. Man, I love this point of the build. Just start to see all the big pieces come together. You know, it makes for a really good day, especially something like this. To see a service bed like this with a truck like this is going to be real cool, especially when it's real high up in the air. Getting excited. You know, the more I look at this thing together, the wheels are turning, getting a few more ideas to really top this thing off. Definitely got to get rid of this.
He just can't leave well enough alone, can he?
Man, this is the point. This isn't well enough. I just love this truck, how everything's looking, but you know, the trailer lights in this thing just kill it. So what I did, man, I had this little plate lasered out for the triple stack, the ABS LEDs. So I'll just cut this thing out, weld this right in. No more trailer lights. Man, I love the style of this bed. You know, I love the work truck feel of this truck, but it's got to have something all the other ones. So the way the new bumper is going to look with the lines on the running board and they carry on to the lines around the bed, the triple stack lights are just really going to go with the whole overall feel of this truck.
Looks like you're adding some TVs to the back of your truck.
I would have 10 years ago. We have them all over the place. You know, Tim's grinding down the light panel we made. He's giving it a little bit of bevel all the way around it. So when we weld the light panel into the bed, I'll bevel this a little also. You know, we'll grind this thing down nice and flush. You know, no powder coat left on it, so you want it metal to metal. Nice weld, nice grind, and very little body filler. And this thing's gonna look super smooth.
These lights are gonna go in from the back side. This is the bucket that holds the LEDs. So to make a stud on here to hold these buckets, I'm gonna drill it all the way through. Then I'll take a bolt and cut the head off. And this side, where the hole is, we'll tack it. Once we do that, it'll hold the bucket tight, hold it against here, it'll be bright, and it'll be better for the weather.
Let's do this, Timmy. You know, the key to doing this type of metal work is making it totally flush. So a little trick is rubbing your fingernail back and forth. That way you know for sure that one isn't sticking up higher than the other. Just ensures for a nice, even, smooth weld and grind. We got our lifted suspension back from powder coat, and I'm really happy we went with gold. I don't know, it came out pretty good. It looks good. It looks like something you go buy at the store, right? Yeah. So let's start getting all the suspension components bolted up underneath there, you know, the hangers, the bag mounts and everything, and then we'll put the axles in so we're not working around all that. Hold on. Where you at?
I need to come over right here.
Okay, look. Let
quite touched the frame a minute. I ain't enough. Gotta open more.
That's 33 3/4. This is 34 1/4 now. Got a long way to go. So what we're doing is overspreading this so we can install it and not scratch our frame up like the welding process. The heat makes everything distort a little bit and move and wander around. So we're overspreading it, putting up in place so when we put the bolts in, it's going to cinch it all up super tight. We're good to go. See, just little tricks like that make all the difference in the world.
Nice and tight, looking right.
We're going to try to pull this up with straps from the truck itself and try to cause as minimum damage as we can.
You know, when you're building these things, people think this is as decorative, but really it's not. Each pipe displaces the weight on the bag mount. If you had one, it'd try to teeter-totter. Two would rock the other way. Four makes it solid. So the more you can get, just the better, the beefier it's gonna hold up. And this being a 1.5 ton, you're gonna need all the bag mount, all the support you can get. Now you can see this just completes the whole big, massive, heavy look of the truck we're going for. Just in your face, massive.
Small speaker there. Another small speaker there.
Lifting a brand new Silverado 5500 is definitely going to turn heads. But I also want to make this thing really loud. So John's going to customize the headache rack with a pair of handmade speaker pods, just like you'd see on a wakeboard boat.
We're going to use these speakers as a chipboard and arrange it up here and see how it looks the best. And once it looks good, we'll make it out of metal. I think we'll put a couple bends in it. Give it some character. We'll cut this faceplate out, and then we're gonna end up connecting this to the headache rack with a bunch of little pieces to give it that wakeboard style setup. We'll get this template off here, go trace it on some metal and cut it out. Doing custom work like this is always fun. I'm so used to doing, suspension work and metal work, but when it comes to doing metal work outside the box, it's always fun to do something different. Now I got the outside shape cut out. What I'm gonna do is mark 1.25 inches all the way around, and I'm gonna cut that out, and it's gonna leave me 1.25 inch flange to go mount up on the headache rack. And I did a radius here where the speaker's gonna be at. Change it up a little bit. Now all these straight lines were easy because I just, run a torch along a straight edge. It's all about finding a right spot to hold this torch and just pivot it around. Keep it steady. Stumble a little bit, the torch is gonna move, and I'm gonna mess this piece up. I'm gonna start all over. That's how you get it done. I'm gonna draw me some lines where I know to set this up in the metal brake and give it a little break here and there to give it that crazy shape that we're looking for. Now we got a little personality to this. The only thing I gotta do is do the exact same thing to the other piece. We're gonna get to cutting. We're gonna remove all of this out of there. We don't need it. It's gonna give us a much cleaner look without it. I'm free. No more locked doors. Now it's time to clean this up. Take some of this paint off so we can tack our new pieces on. That way we get these cool tower speakers built on this headache rack. We got everything grinded, sanded down, nice and clean. Now we can see what we gotta work with. What I'm gonna do now is tack me a couple pieces from here to the headache rack, and then we're gonna start building our plates off of that. Now I got the frames all on there. Now it's time to fit the speakers inside the frame to see how they fit all in there. This is looking really cool. Imagine this going down the road, music blaring.
The new wheels are 28 by 8.25, and our new tires are 42 by 1550s. They're way too big for our tire machine. So Tim's gonna take them somewhere that'll handle the job.
Should be 10-15 minutes.
Yeah, we definitely got our work cut out for us, man.
It's on there. Phase 1.
We're gonna let this beautiful machine here and that robo arm kind of push down on these sidewalls so we can get underneath there and make sure that thing fits for you.
Usually the shop, if we have something big like this, we gotta grab some big pro bars and do it on the ground. Like butter. Let's see if we can get some air in this bad boy and get it rolling.
So because we work on everyday cars, this actually has a regulator on there to keep my guys safe. Because this is a 1550 on a 28 8.25 wheel, we're gonna hook up a direct line and just straight on air. There it goes. That's good. Perfect. Done.
Woo. Man, I was just joking about 10 or 15 minutes, but y'all made that look super easy.
You got it good.
What's up, man?
That's looking good, man.
Yeah, once that grill's in there, man, it's gonna look really
right. We definitely want to take our time to make it right. You know, get the angles right. You want to look at it wherever you're at it. You want it to look cool.
Coolness from every angle.
Right. Finishing the sides and boxing it in is going to be pretty critical on something like this.
Mm-hmm.
I got the chipboard, got the tape. Start making it.
Hell yeah.
The puzzle has begun.
Mm-hmm.
Man, you just never know where this is gonna take you, right? It's a work bed, but you still want it to look cool. You want it different, right? You don't want it to be like the same one going down the street.
Yeah. If I was to see this thing going down the road, I'd be like, man, I want one of those.
Right. So it's a great start right here. You're creating the coolness factor as we go. So you want to really get back once you get a couple steps in. We'll get back and really see how that's flowing.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing about custom, right? Is making it your own, making it cool, making somebody go, man, that's cool. Yeah. That's what we do this for. It's got a little flatness right here. Let's get a back piece on here. See if we can't change it up a little bit. Yeah, man, that looks good. Yeah.
Bill got a good start on laying this out for me, so I know exactly what he wants. Now I could go and take his template, trace this on some metal, get to cutting and breaking it. I'm gonna start breaking on here, and then I'm gonna break this line, and I'll do the two ends last. And by doing this, we'll get one nice clean piece with a few breaks in it instead of a bunch of welding going on, which would tend to cause warping. Now we got the outside cap. I'm gonna start building this inside piece for the bottom. I'm getting all my measurements off of what we already built here and transferring them over to this piece of sheet metal that's gonna fit these contours here. I'm gonna take it over to the brake, bend it. And it's just so much better trying to do this as one piece of metal than having so much work on the body guys. They could give me a pat on the back when I'm done. I'm gonna tack this up here, front and back, and then trim up all the excess. Now we got the bottom panel in, we can continue over the top, connect the two. Because the issue I'm having is the speaker mount is higher than the rest. And I'll go back and mold this in with some more material and make it look like it's supposed to be like that. And it is supposed to be like that. Shh, don't tell nobody. Get that all molded up and make it look good. This is one of those things that had to be done for clearance issues, but at the same time of just notching it out, we could also make it look cool.
Man, John, this thing looks so good. That's something you definitely don't see every day, right?
Right, definitely.
This thing is going to be loud. Having built a few lifted trucks in our day, you got to think about how you're going to climb up in it. So we made some brand new running boards for our Chevy 5500. We got the truck over on the 4-post lift. It's way easier to work on this thing, perfect height, just the height you're working at, and no post in the way. What we did is take off the factory steps, and they're going to replace it with a piece of sheet metal that we had in our spot for our toolboxes. Cleans it up a lot, huh? Hides all that, and gives it a little style too.
Way better. Now it looks complete.
Let's give it a quick little rough cut. Yeah,
anytime you're doing something like this where, you know, you get one shot at it, you know, it's a little bit of work taking this thing on and off, you know, 3, 4, 5, 6 times, but, you know, it's a lot more work to go back and have to recreate something you already cut off too much of. Looks like a factory part. I guess the next step is cutting the holes out, and we'll get these boxes in. Man, I kind of like it right there. Little cut lines. Man, that looks way better, huh? No more flatness. Gives us some depth, and it's useful.
Take some measurements here.
You know, the speaker pods are done, but we're not finished with the audio. I want to fill some of the built-in boxes in the bed with speakers and amps. And John's over in the interior shop making some amp racks right now.
We got 9 amplifiers total going in this thing. This thing's going to be a monster. We get the breath. And when we have the other set of amplifiers stacked over here, we'll be able to just travel up and down through here with our wires and get this thing drawn out and make a pretty cool looking little amp rack. And we'll get all those cut out. We'll have amplifier here. Bam, bam, bam. Next thing I'm going to do, cut out some 1/4-inch strips, get them stapled on. We'll go over the router, flush trim all this out. So the next step I got is take my template that I made, transfer it over onto the aluminum so I can go rough cut it out. By far the worst part of working with aluminum is having to rough cut it because you have to do it by hand. All you can do is just get after it and cut it and settle in for a long journey because it's not easy. All right, we just take our double-sided stick tape here, lay it up, get it stuck to this aluminum. Basically what we've got here is some dish soap. I like to use this stuff here for a lubricant for cutting aluminum. If you mess up cutting it, there's no fixing it. You just throw it away and start all over, and that's never fun for anybody. I've watched guys lose their jobs over scrapping parts. Not something I want to do. All right, pull these apart. All right, clean this off. Go over to Jesse, get him to
Bill can't leave well enough alone. He'd asked me to get 2 speakers out of the shop. So I brought him a box. He said, no, 2 boxes. So he's going to pull more speakers to the front. So the back's going to be loud, and now the front's going to be loud. My brand new Silverado medium duty is almost done. We're going to add a winch and a place for even more speakers. Man, this is exactly what this thing has to have. Some kind of forward projection. So the 6.5-inch Wake Tower speakers are just perfect.
Really hope people like Bill's music. You're going to be listening to exactly what he's listening to.
After all the work we did to the bed, it's time to get it over to body and paint so we can color match everything all black.
Welcome in, guys. Welcome in.
Now the only thing left is putting all the pieces together.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Yeah.
We're installing the amp rack, running boards, and speaker grills. Huge billet dually wheels, and then it's ready for its world premiere. You know, it's great working with great craftsmen, and it's even cooler to work with. Strive to do better and do better and do better.
I never had an older brother, so I've always looked at Bill as that older brother you look up to that always had the cooler stuff. Way older brother.
Me and Tim have this kind of sibling rivalry for sure. We're always pushing each other, you know, when we're building things for ourselves. He's working on his own car. You go by, you're like, oh man, what is, you let this get by, Tim? I don't let him get by with stuff he would, you know, try to do on his truck, and him the same with me.
We have a competition with each other, but we want the best for his, best for mine. End of the day, we're still putting extensive on both of them. So he and I do push each other to go to the max because it's us against everybody, not just him against me. You know, we're trying to set the bar on the whole car industry. Thanks, older bro.
Every year we have an open house at the shop. We got friends, family, old customers, and hopefully some new ones. And I can't wait to show them what we've been up to. It's always cool to, have parties like this, have an open house, and just, see what comes through the door. And stuff like this is exactly what, gets me excited. You never know what's going to come through the gate, but you got to go see what's going on. How old is he?
4 months.
4 months? Man, he's cool. Man, this thing's crazy. There's a certain kind of person that loves lifted trucks. And for them, a brand new Chevy 5500 medium duty, 14 inches in the air, is going to blow them away.
Hey, you guys, come on over. I want to show you guys something. Come on. Come on, Rick. Come on over.
For real, thank you guys for coming out, and always supporting, myself, my team, Extensive. It says a lot to me, you guys coming out. I know it's free food and free beer, but thanks for coming.
Thanks, Bill.
Well, I got all you guys together. I want you guys to check out the latest Extensive build and tell me what you think. Yeah! All right, Timmy, come on out with it. Example of just teamwork makes the dream work. Brand new medium duty Silverado. When I got this thing, it was just a cabin chassis, just basic work truck, no frills whatsoever. So first thing we did is got it in the shop, put it on the lift, and got it at the height that looked good. Push the button again, a little higher. Push the button again, a little. All right, cool. Get the axles down in the right spot and just build everything from the truck down to the ground. Starting out with the big, huge 4-link underneath this thing, big bags. This thing gets 14 inches of lift from all the way down to all the way up, totally adjustable. If you're gonna have a big 4x4 truck like this, you gotta have some unique, cool wheels on this thing. 28-inch dually wheels with big 42-inch tall tires. I wanted to go something totally different and do a utility bed. Nobody does a bed like this on a truck like this.
Typical Bill fashion, when we got the bed, couldn't leave well enough alone. You think you can bolt the bed on this thing? Yeah, I never worked with Bill Carlton. He had to change up the whole bed, tail light, side, added some speakers on the top.
Well, if you're gonna have a stereo, you gotta have a stereo. I wanted like a wakeboard style stereo in the headache rack. Somebody behind me, they ain't gonna be able to hear either. And we put 10 Rockford Tower speakers all throughout the bottom of this thing. Not only that, it's gonna hit just as good. There's a ton of stereo just inside also. We utilize every compartment in this thing just to be loud. From the speakers behind the grill to the winch, this thing's ready to party and get to work. Now you gotta be able to get in this big old truck, right? So had to make some steps, had to build some running boards and incorporated, toolboxes in this thing just to break up some of the smoothness that's in between there. Tie everything together and give it a little style. I really appreciate all you guys coming out and checking this thing out. Another example, teamwork right here. And this is what happens. Everybody comes together and makes some cool stuff. You guys walk around this thing, check it out. Let me know how we did.
Truck is unreal. I'd love to build something like this one day. The way they did the speakers up here, that's amazing, man. I mean, you don't see that type of work made out of metal.
Big 42 tires on them 28s. They're right pretty good looking.
Man, I love this Bill, man. Bill showed out again, man. I'm definitely going to pull up to the shop and take this one out on the weekend and pull up to the club. And
reaction of these guys, we did what we were supposed to do. When you're building a custom truck, every part and piece plays upon the whole bed. There's so much customization on this thing. It'd take you 2 hours to see everything that's going on from bumper to bumper. This thing's going to bring a lot of business to the